Hi, I'm Warren. I know next to nothing about music or musical theater. Does this sound like you, or somebody that you know? If so, tune in to Tone Deaf, a theater nerd's guide for their musically challenged spouse, every Wednesday, where my wife Kay,
that's me,
broadens my horizons and makes me less of an uncultured swine.
Oh, Warren, you're not a swine.
Thanks, Kay. Wait.
Tune in every Wednesday to Tone Deaf.
Can you tell me what an Jellicle cat is?
Yes, it's their first episode.
Well, I didn't listen to the first episode. And I need to know.
Meow.
Rum Tum Tugger is haunting my dreams, and I need to slay this beast.
Fuck that ginger son of a bitch.
I keep waiting for Zack Snyder to release the butthole cut of Cats.
Oh my
Release
god.
the butthole cut.
And the balls. Come on, all the dangly bits.
Yeah.
Release the dick and balls cut of Cats, please. Zack Snyder, creator of Cats.
Oh,
You coward, release
Welcome to Animorph Time with Nate and Tyler.
Time. They can't tell you their names. They can't tell you where they live, but in the mid to late 90s, these 5 teenagers can turn into animals to fight an invading army of evil brain slugs. 5 dumb teens are the only thing standing in the way of complete annihilation. This is Animorphing Time with Nate and Tyler.
Get your hand off my girlfriend, you yerk-brained bastard!
This is for Daddy. Make it like half the bottle.
Catherine Alice Applegate wouldn't want this. Doesn't want this. Blah, 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 blah.
And like they're like, no, stop shooting at children.
Oh man, being 12 was weird.
I'm Nate.
I'm Tyler. And as you've heard, Rum Tum Tugger is a curious cat.
You know what? Like, hold on, wait. If we're doing this talk,
Okay.
I think I like Mr. Mistopheles.
Yes.
Yes,
That is
brave
that is
choice.
a correct answer.
Yeah,
the only correct answer.
Well, I
because
mean-
he's the leader. He's their leader. I guess. Okay, I remember very little from Cats.
I can't stop picturing Ian McKellen drinking milk in that fucking movie.
Gus is the cat at the theater door.
I don't know. I think Gandalf is a big milk drinker.
That movie was hot
Oh, God.
garbage. I'm sorry.
Please
but it
tell me
was-
you've seen the stage version.
Oh, we have guests.
Oh yeah, there's guests here.
We're the worst hosts. We're sorry.
Alrighty, today we're welcoming. We're a little half in the back.
Care to take that again?
Yeah, don't edit it. I'm a drunk mess. We have guests from Tone Deaf, a theater nerd's guide for their musically challenged spouse. We have Kay and Warren. Kay, Warren, welcome to Animorphin' Time.
Thank you. We're
Thanks for
excited to
having
be
us.
here.
Nailed it.
Good job.
Welcome. Sorry, I'm taking a victory lap of me saying the title right for the first time after 6 times.
Congratulations.
Get excited. Rub your nipples.
So
Warren.
Oh, here we go.
I think we should talk about anything other than nipples. Because they make me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's true.
You
The
don't
human
rub
body
enough.
in general is very uncomfortable. That's why Cats was so, disturbing to me.
More cats. God damn.
So I think we should start this off by talking about our musical history background. Tyler, where
Yeah.
did we first become friends?
Yeah, let's talk about us before we let the guests talk about
It
themselves.
segues into their relationship with musical theater, I'm sure. Because I know you because we took theater together.
Yeah.
That's how I know you.
Nate and I did a lot of theater together, tons
Right.
of it.
Awesome.
To the point where Nate and I, we wrote our own little play that pissed our theater director off so much he kicked us out of the theater because we've always been very bad boys.
Listen, you're not like a true theater kid if you don't make your theater teacher just cry.
He bawled. He fucking bawled. He's like, you are not welcome in this theater anymore.
Oh,
and I'm just like, cool, I can go home and play Metal Gear Solid.
You don't get to drop that kind of bag without opening it up and letting the cat meow.
See, you get it.
Yeah, exactly. So, what I do want to know, your source for musical theater. How did you get into the musical theater? Where did you start?
And you can also talk
gosh.
about Animorphs at any time.
I've been acting since I was 8. I want to say that my first real, oh my gosh, I need to be in musicals, and this is going to sound horrible, was seeing Cats. which is why we introduced
all right.
Yeah,
which
so,
is why that was the one
cats
that I
is a-
You
introduced
saw
First of
the
all,
cats. You saw Andrew Lloyd Webber's cats, and you're like, that is going to be me.
Yes. And that was before my
right,
body
fair.
completely fell apart, so...
Whoa.
But then, like, I saw Annie, and I was like, well, that's a little white redhead. I am not a little white redhead, so that's not
Well-
a show I can ever be.
You know what they did with Nick Fury in the Marvel movies, right? You could
Yeah.
go that route.
Oh,
But, like-
dude, you should hear her story about being Black Dorothy
Oh,
in
God.
Wizard of Oz
Ooh, that sounds great.
in
Oh.
Utah.
Draper, Utah is hell. It's
Hell, Utah.
it's one of the worst places to be black, I feel.
Have you been to Portland?
Well, okay, in Utah, well, no, in Utah, actually, the worst place to be
I still
like
think every place in Utah, it's probably worse to be black in than Portland.
Oh, I don't know, Tyler. It's a toss-up.
It is a toss-up. I got some interesting, eye-opening experiences of, oh, you hate me, when I was Dorothy.
What? That's awfully direct. Like, yeah, maybe because Portland's usually more subtle.
Yeah.
We're big into passive aggressiveness.
Well, we see when you live in a state that is run by it's a theocracy, people can get away with a lot more.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair. That we didn't disturb you on the night your handmaiden comes, right?
See, I've never actually seen or read the book, so it's like,
Oh, it's awful stuff, man. It's real bad.
Kay, can you explain the joke to me?
Like Handmaid's Tale.
I've never seen Handmaid's Tale.
Okay, it's
someone out there is loving that.
Yeah, someone like that. And don't talk to me.
but like
Just in general, I don't want any friends. I have enough, thanks.
So speaking of going back in time,
We didn't let them finish about their history with musicals.
Well, I mean,
tell me about the history of musicals.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry,
God.
we'll shut up.
oh god.
I mean, you heard it with Kay. Kay has done semi-professional theater, been working in theater ever since they were a wee young,
Little cute thing.
yeah, very cute thing. And then me, fat lot of nothing, I'm tone deaf. I can't.
No, I get it.
Pick
I was
things
also
out.
a stage person. It's good stuff. Just working in the back, having a good time.
It was always one of those things of like, I'm so surprised that Kay married me, because they've probably had to explain the same musical theory thing half a dozen times to me, and it still goes in one ear, bounces off my smooth brain, and then slides out the other.
No, I get. You just have to rhyme. It's all about rhyming, right? Like that's how you do a musical.
It's a little bit.
That same. I mean,
Nailed it. Got it.
you got to dance too.
Gotta be a triple
Listen,
threat nowadays.
Yeah.
But today we are going into the far, far past.
Before we travel back in time, before we Michael J. Fox this,
Okay.
let's ask them their history with Animorphs. That's what we all do. We haven't heard about that.
Yes. It was a hyperfixation of mine. I encountered...
Hyperfixation.
Yes. I encountered Animorphs back around the second book, around The Visitor, because of a book fair. And so I got The Visitor, I got The Invasion, I got The Encounter, and then I didn't read them for a little bit just because I had so many other books I had to read for school. And then one summer I'm reading, I want to say it was 8 that I started reading this one, actually. Oh, I was 8.
She was 8.
Oh, you were 8, and you. Okay.
And I started reading.
Clean the shit out your ears and listen to our guests, damn it.
I will never listen to our cats.
I actually started reading with this book, and I get partway through and go, okay, I gotta go back to the beginning and start reading this.
Yeah. My ongoing theory is that kids just kind of start in the middle of these things, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how I ran into like series books. Like I didn't read like Hardy Boys #1. No.
Yeah, it's hard to get. Really rare.
Yeah.
I mean, like yes, they're all the same story. They're all the same story. It's fine. You could actually do that with Hardy Boys. It turns out you probably couldn't do that though with Animorphs,
Oh,
even
no.
though they do the whole intro every time.
yeah, and I was just kind of like, okay, I need to know.
Okay, so you started with this, and then you're like, you had to know what the hell is going on. Why is this boy a bird?
Yes. In fact, it was Tobias that made me go, okay, no, wait, how? What's going on here? So I stopped reading.
There's an alien here. He's turned into another alien.
Yeah. So I stopped reading this one, like, it was only a couple of chapters in that I went, okay, no, I gotta go back. So then I'm reading through, and then it gets to the point where
this book starts with Marco. It turned me off, too.
Poor Marco.
That's fighting words for you now.
Please, sorry. Continue.
But no, then I just was reading through them. I was burning through the books as a kid all the way up to this one. And then read all the way through as new books were coming out. I'd go to Media Play every day. There's a word we haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah, that just dated you for anybody who
Yeah,
lives in Utah.
I don't actually know what Media Play is. What is Media Play?
It's also a dinosaur that has gone extinct.
It was
Cool.
It
Sounds like an old internet thing.
It was basically just a store that sold movies, music, and video games
and books.
Okay.
And so I would always
Yeah,
go
because
there.
like the Midwest and the West Coast are different countries. Like we have different stores. It's true.
As far as I know, Media Play was just a Utah thing.
I hear you call it
It was
Hardee's
Utah
over there.
Color. Oh no,
It's
we have
Carl's
Carl's
Jr.
Jr. here.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
good. That's where the real country divide happens.
Yeah,
Yes.
if you have a Hardee's where you live, we don't care about you.
Yeah.
You're
Sorry.
officially uninvited
Oh,
to the podcast.
sorry.
They read the book series Animal Changers. I don't know what that series is.
The Anakids.
Changanimals.
Change animals, yeah. We read Animorphs in this country.
We don't take kindly to folks who read changing kids.
Yeah. Back in my day, we read Change Animals, and we loved it.
I'm so tempted to start doing the Joe Biden. Like, we didn't have kids turn into animals. We didn't do that. I can't do it.
You just did. But
I know, but I've been walking around my house just talking like Joe Biden. It's driving everybody crazy at work.
No.
Anytime anything bad happens in my life, from big to small, I just go, come on, man.
I mean, that is like his most iconic line besides, shoot him in the leg instead of shoot him in the heart.
And Corn Pop.
And
Right.
Corn Pop.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys. And I did. And back in those days, to show how things have changed, one of the things you had to use, if you used pomade in your hair, you had to wear a bathing cap. And so he was up on the board, wouldn't listen to me. I said, hey, Esther, you, off the board, or I'll come up and drag you off. Well, he came off, and he said, I'll meet you outside my car. And I said, what am I going to do? He said, come down here in the basement where mechanics, where all the pool filter is. You know the chain, there used to be a chain that went across the deep end. And he cut off a 6-foot length of chain. He folded up, he said, you walk out with that chain.
Oh, I've got Corn Pop pretty much memorized.
I think I like Corn Pop as like if I met Corn Pop, I would have lots to talk with Corn Pop.
Hey, he was a
How
bad
did he get named
dude.
Corn Pop? Was it the cereal?
Yeah, he ran some bad boys.
Did he just like not understand popcorn? Did you say it wrong?
Who knows what? Who knows if that was even the right name?
Maybe it was like a language thing. Like, he was like sold as being like this Hispanic dude. Maybe he was just learning like English. And he's just like, oh, Corn Pop. And like Joe Biden's like double down like, oh, you dumb idiot. Corn Pop.
Looks like Esther Williams.
I don't know. So
President-elect Joe Biden. God,
Jesus
We're living in the
Christ.
bad universe. But
the Nerks are a bad dude. And they are bad boys. That's what they called the Nerks, right?
Went down in there, saw Bill Williams' basement, said, this will break your Candrona. Take this chain, I'm going to wrap it around that Horford's neck.
And you can do that because they have the skinny neck.
They told me these lizard aliens eat trees. You walk up to them, they're chewing on the bark. I bark, that's what a dog says when you're at home with the best gal.
Oh.
The key is to pick one word in a sentence and just run with it until you get to the next word. That's my Joe Biden.
Your Joe Biden impersonation is just to like have your brain die.
Yeah, I have to say pretty accurate.
Just make word salad.
Oh my god.
It's slow form poetry, but with no rhyming and.
I'm dying.
Oh, so Joe Biden would like kill at the moth. He shows up with the moth and just like lays down some beat poetry.
But with no beat.
Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran with some bad boys.
Rainbow came over the clouds like heaven's dick.
Whoom, whoom, whoom. Gasoline rainbow, clearing the skies above. I don't know actually any words from Gasoline
Read
Rainbow.
the Bible. Angels made eyes and wings. They don't look like a fella.
All right, we gotta stop. We have a whole book to go through.
All right.
Oh,
Warren,
shit, that's
what
right,
you got for Animorphs? Sorry.
So,
Yeah, what is your history? We need to bring this back. Please help us get back to animals.
Yeah, someone please write in. Help us get back on track.
So, my history with Animorphs is much less exciting than Kay's. I was not a big reader as a kid. I choose, rather than being lazy, I choose to blame it on having a neurological condition called nystagmus, where my eyes wiggle, as well as some ADD. So reading was always arduous as a kid because I would read it and then my eyes would wiggle and I have to reread it and my brain would go, hey, well, what about this? And then I have to reread it again. So I didn't read a whole lot. But my first exposure to Animorphs was either book 7 or book 9. It was either The Secret or The Invasion. I don't remember which one it was. And I remember starting to read it and being like, I have no idea what's going on. And I was like, who gives somebody book 7 in a series? Like, if you're going to give somebody a book, like, start with the first one, you dick. Like, I don't even remember who it was that gave it to me. But then I decided, okay, I want to start at the beginning. And then I saw the cover for the Animorphs, the Andalite Chronicles. And I was like, I need to know who this blue scorpion-tailed centaur man is. And read the Animorphs, the Andalite Chronicles, and then read a couple of the other books, and then what happens always, I probably got distracted by a video game or a cartoon and jump forward 30 years to be now.
No, I kind of feel that. Like, I also was not like a huge reader as a kid. I was very much like, hey, video games are pretty fun. Why don't I just play video games?
Yeah.
But like, that is the most striking thing if you're not familiar with Animorphs is an Andalite, because it's such a like, what the hell is this thing, right? Because like the face is really what gets me too. Is just like there's no mouth, it has this weird slit nose,
The extra eyes.
like that's the thing. Like I think the first episode that we did of this was just like, wait, they have eye horns?
Yeah.
Why?
My buddy Axe, he's got a pussy for a face. Got these eyes on his head.
You can get the second base and third base at the same
No,
time.
you shouldn't be.
It's blue.
And also, don't forget the hands. He has big hands, strong hands, many fingers.
They had big hands to hold you with. Not too strong, too many fingers though. Like you order some steak fingers, you get about 7 or 8 of them. It's like Andalite hand.
Yes, hi. I have a question. So like normally, like they eat through their feet. Is this true? Like I don't see how like anything could really eat through their feet, because that means they're eating everything that they step on. So do you have a response?
I don't think I could eat with my feet. My 2 dogs, I might step in some of their... Oh, I shouldn't say this. Oh, I'm sorry, everybody. I might step in their droppings. No, I can't do that. Andalite fella eating dog droppings. You can't see that these days. You that's how they were drunk.
oh my god.
Chapter 1.
No, before we get to chapter 1.
Yeah, we should talk about the drink that we're drinking.
What are you guys having to drink?
We are having Low Rider Chocolate Milk Stout from Salt Flats Brewing Company, Salt Lake City Brewery.
I will say Utah has some good local breweries, despite the cult in power that doesn't want people to drink or have a good time.
Fucking Zion Curtain. Have you heard of the Zion Curtain?
I mean, if anything, that's the reason why you need to have a lot of things to drink.
The Zion Curtain.
It's It's what
love that.
separates you from the bar when you go to like a restaurant and when you go to a restaurant
Jesus.
you have to order food with alcohol.
Utah has some interesting liquor laws.
So
It's all to
stupid.
protect the children.
At least you don't have to buy your own mini bottles anymore before you go to a restaurant. That was dumb. But
Yeah, buy your own.
Oh,
mini-
like so you have to buy the bottle and open it up and then pour it into the.
Well, you buy the bottle, you give it to the hostess or the waitress and say, I would like to have a drink, and then they make it, they take it to the bartender to do it for you.
yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
The word you're looking for is stupid.
Blink once if you're trapped, twice if you want us to save you.
What that reminds me of is this French dish where you eat a whole bird.
Oh, we gotta save 'em.
God.
I think I save him.
I mean, wait till you're sober.
Where it's this French dish where you eat a whole bird and you put like a napkin over the bird so God can't see.
No, you put it
eat
over your head.
Yeah.
Well, you did the whole situation. Put it over the whole so God can't see it. That sounds like you're trying to hide your alcohol from God. So you put it in tiny bottles and then you put a veil over your head and you pour it into the drink quietly.
Oh,
Rap
the
Barack
veil's just for
Obama,
weddings.
he got that Netflix deal. He used to put a curtain over his head. Eat some chicken. You hide your shame from God. Some people, they start with Genesis. I like the book of Revelation.
That's where all the monsters are.
Jesus. So we're drinking. What are we going to call this?
It was supposed to be a green alien based of our.
A green dinosaur.
Oh, sorry, green
we
dinosaur.
didn't have anything for that.
Yeah.
So why don't we call this Mercora's Tears?
Mercora's Tears. It is a bit salty, a bit spicy.
Yeah.
Like what I imagine is the poor Marcola, our crab friends that we'll meet later on in this adventure.
And probably an easier name for non-Animorphs fans, because I know there are a few listeners. This is called the Pain-Worshipping Crab.
Here's the pain-worshipping crab.
So we got 2 parts bourbon, 1 part Fernet Branca, splash of simple syrup, some lime juice, and some seltzer de jour, soda de jour. We went with lime seltzer.
I would have put in a Baja Blast to make it, alien.
That is indicative of your taste, yeah. So, Megamorphs number 2.
Better than Megamorphs number 1. I will say that.
Absolutely.
Have you read Megamorphs number 1?
Megamorphs
I have, but I don't think he has.
Kay has read the entire series again recently, on top of reading
shit.
the entire series, because Kay has a
They are quick reads.
Kay has a very wrinkly brain that can read very fast.
So many wrinkles.
I had
Must
not
be nice.
see, right? Like, okay, so
Yeah.
I have not read the first Megamorphs. This one was the first one I had read. Kay probably could have read this book 2 or 3 times in the time it took me to read it.
I mean, this is a long one.
Yeah, I was surprised. It's almost like an actual book size.
Yeah.
And you don't have to read the first Megamorphs. It's not that
You
great.
really
Oh,
don't.
I
Like
listened
some of
to
the,
your guys'
I can sum up
episode.
the first Megamorphs in one sentence.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Pain Cloud gets killed by whale. That's it.
Yeah, that's about it. Pink Cloud gets killed by whale. That really is the only thing I remember from that book, except the crazy lady in the woods. I wonder what she's doing.
Yeah, Marco was a fucking creep at a pool. Why are we summing up Megamorphs 1?
This is the sequel to Megamorphs 1. Is Megamorphs 2?
Megamorphs 2.
Nate wants to just compare how much better this one is to the other one.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty
it's stark how better this is than Megamorphs 1. Still the worst book we've read in this series.
Between that and The Forgotten, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hold on, wait. So you say The Forgotten's a bad book?
I mean, it did give us Serio's rip, and I am holding back Italian voice so hard right now. Hey! Listeners, if we have any Italian listeners out there, fuck you.
Why?
Hey, Kay's Italian.
They can take
part.
This is from Rome, you son of a bitch. Hey, you think Caesar's so hot, huh?
Hey, Nate, remember, we're currently living in the collapse of the modern Rome, so...
It worked out for Italians.
Yeah.
Listen, I appreciate any culture that knows how to cure a good meat.
Yes.
They do. You've got that on lock.
Yeah.
See, I like Jamaica because I appreciate anybody who knows how to jerk a good meat.
For
Yeah, no. Whoa. Hey, whoa. Don't be bringing that trash in here.
We don't do sexual stuff in this. I couldn't even say it.
Self-pleasure is forbidden in the podcast.
Okay, I'll put it away then.
Warren, did you want me to keep going with the nipple play or no?
Only if you take off
What
your
are you
shirt, because I
doing
can't
with
see as
yourself?
well.
Oh, don't think I won't.
This is an audio medium, so I'm just going to describe. Tyler is like doing up and down like light switch motions with his nipples.
Look, this book involves a lot of crabs. I'm making crab eyes. My nipples.
I feel like we need to crack into this book. It is
Yes.
far.
I apologize.
We are so far removed from talking about an Animorph.
Yeah, Megamorphs too. I just keep doing that.
Well,
our podcast is Tangent, the podcast where we occasionally talk about musicals. So, having us on as guests, there's going to be derails. So I apologize.
It's at least your podcast. You say smart things and do research.
hey, I did research.
I also.
One of us on this podcast does research.
Hey, Kay does the research.
If you want to know anything about a terrible lizard, I got it.
We're not there yet. Oh, I did do some research for this one. It's very sad. We'll get to it.
Oh no.
So, I mean, the Megamorphs typically have weird covers.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if y'all were reading hard copies. I picked up a hard copy. And my cover is just all of the Animorphs' eyes molded together.
Yep.
That's what.
Yeah, it's very amorphous, like wallpaper.
Yeah, that's what the ebook version
I
is.
guess is fine.
I'm actually really happy that the ebook cover is the same cover I had as a kid, because there are like 7 different variants. And the one that I've got is like the little sunset-looking one. So, purple at the top, and then orange and yellow.
I was hoping to get the one where it's like them all lunging forward, morphing into dinosaurs that weren't in the book.
Oh, that was so
Yeah,
cool.
I guess the Megamorphs ones are the ones that have the most like varied covers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is not a David Mattingly special. I think it is just kind of whatever they had at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he like showed up drunk to work. He's like, I gotta make a Megamorph. So I made him Joe Biden.
David Mattingly, come on, pull yourself together. You have a job.
You get pictures of kids. You turn them into animals.
Okay, but like you still haven't put together the inside cover. We need something for the inside cover.
I got Alien's face. Looks like a pussy on his mouth, but ain't got a mouth. He's got these eyes. They're green. He's got 2 penises on his head, but instead of the head, they got eyes. He's got elf ears. Looks like a little Legolas.
All right, fine. Let's ship it. Just ship it. I don't care anymore. Does it sell? Does it give us money? All right, just ship it.
Kids are dumb. They'll read anything. Ship it.
Yeah. So, but to
dumb.
summarize that though, it is just a picture of Axe on the inside cover. It's just there.
I don't. Is
He's
that
just there
what it is
looking.
on your ebook? Is just a picture of Axe's face?
On the ebook, it's got all 6 of them. Like, one's
No,
Axe,
yeah.
There's
then-
ours right
yeah.
there. That's Axe.
This is ours.
It's just a picture of Axe. Yeah, that's not
much better. It's all there. That's so
See,
much
you-
fucking
Although
You have a
I will
picture.
say the forward-facing Tobias is always just a little bit upsetting.
So
You know,
guys-
like it's like no,
Yeah.
that's not how a bird. Because a bird would never look directly at you, right?
It's because they know
I
they
guess
look
I haven't looked at many
wonky.
birds.
So you guys have just Axe on the inside because Axe, even when he's with a group of people, he's still alone.
Oof.
Oh yeah,
Bringing it back, man. Bringing it back.
yeah. He didn't ask for this.
So we open with our boy, young Sheldon Marco.
He's not the young Sheldon.
He's the young Sheldon, and I will not stop.
He's the half men of the 2.5 Men. I would say more than the young Sheldon.
Because he's so small.
Yeah, because he's very short. He's a short king. Let's give him some credit.
There are short kings.
Yeah.
Warren, how tall are you?
Oh, don't make me answer. I'm 5'7" if I have good posture.
Oh yeah, you're
That's
like
fine.
you're like a normal sized guy. That's fine. You're not a short king.
Yeah.
I mean, but Marco is the one that
So-
I seem to identify with the most, other than Jake and his smooth brain. I'm like a combination of snarky Marco and Jake and his very smooth brain.
Yeah. And you like Jake, I think, does okay in this book.
He does.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does fine. He's gotten better. Like at the first beginning of the series, like I was like super down on Jake, but now he's just like He's very much is the guy who likes the responsibility.
Yeah.
He's the guy who
he makes the choice.
But he kind of enjoys it. He likes feeling important because he's got nothing else. But anyways, so chapter one, we have to dig in.
Oh yeah, we got to dive deep in this book that's so plot heavy.
Chapter 1, nuclear submarine.
Nukes on the loose.
Yeah, Marco's just watching this random news report. Because remember watching the news?
Yeah, just freaking. Now you turn it on, it's all biased garbage. Clinton News Network.
No, I just remember watching an actual TV show. I haven't watched any cable news in a good year. And only then before that was just in hotels and airports. That's the only time I watched news.
I mean, I see it at work when I go into patients' rooms, and it's I get so scared hoping it's not Fox News because all the Fox News people are yup, Democrats stopping him from doing his job, yup.
Is that your James Carville?
No, that's just every fucking Fox News watcher.
When's the last time you watched actual on-air news?
Whenever we go to my mom's, and usually she's on there to get mad at Trump, get mad at Pelosi, get mad at my mom.
But no mention of nuclear submarines, right?
Yeah, nuclear waste getting shipped through the state, that comes up on the news, but that's it.
Yeah, usually if there's a government sub that goes missing, we don't hear about it until after the explosion, something like that. I doubt that's
they
covered on the news.
They don't really brag about that kind of stuff on the news.
Hey, we lost a multi-billion-dollar piece of equipment. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
It's cool though. We sent some divers. It's all right.
Yeah.
Breaking news tonight: we lost 17 nukes.
They're in the water
Thanks,
somewhere.
Wolf.
Yeah.
I chalk this up to an Elemus does shit. Anytime there's a question, the Elemus did it.
There we go.
Exactly.
Right. They just need a reason to have an explosion to create the stereo rip. Right? Because why would the Animorphs care? There's a sub at the bottom of the ocean. I guess we needed to turn into dolphins and find it.
Yeah.
This is not a Yerk problem.
Hey,
There's something nuclear and radioactive at the bottom of the ocean. Let's go to it.
Hey, Nate. With great animorphing power comes great animorphing responsibility.
God damn it.
That's a good point, right? Because they're not going out and saving just random folks. They're not doing superhero garbage, right?
No.
Right? It's only Yerks, only.
No, they are kids.
Right,
And they do have
True.
curfew.
This is them doing something nice.
Yeah.
Anytime they save somebody, it's accidental, right? They just happen to be checking out a Planet Hollywood, and there's someone jumping out of a window. We gotta save that guy. But it's never them going on a mission that is not Yerk related because they're kids and they're just they don't want to deal with anything that they don't have to.
Their brains
I
are
get
not
that.
finished developing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess Marco's especially Marco being the ones I guess we have to save the sub.
Yeah, I was
a
the
weird
idiot
one.
who happened to be watching the news on TV.
Yep.
Right.
Maybe my mom's down there.
He does casually mention his mom and then brush it off.
Yeah, he does.
I will say, though, that this had my favorite line in any Animorphs book, and it's because of, this chapter specifically, because of
Hit us with it.
my childhood and my dad. So,
Ooh, okay.
but Yerks don't crawl up on top of your head like lice. They crawl inside your head. A slug, like a big snail, slithers into your ear, oozes into your brain, flattens itself out, sinks into all the cracks in your brain, and from that point it controls you. It can even force you to listen to Kenny G. My dad...
Yeah, I also highlighted that line.
My dad worked for Kenny G.
Yep.
In fact, when he left, it was to go work with Kenny G.
Kay got to meet Kenny G when they were a wee little person.
How was it to work with Mr. G? Holy shit.
And Kenny...
My dad went out for a pack of Kenny G albums.
Yes. No, I'm not kidding. I sit here and I go, I mean, it's not the worst my dad went out for a pack of cigarettes, but not the best.
Yeah.
We didn't see any of that Kenny G money.
Yeah, neither did Kenny G, really.
No.
But I remember when Kenny G was the biggest joke though in the 90s. If you wanted to make fun of bad music, it was always Kenny G or possibly Yanni.
Yeah.
I remember Yanni being
Donnie
thrown
was
around.
a thing.
Yeah. right? It was the go-to joke, so I'm sorry that your dad went to the go-to joke musician. Like that. It's like, who was the model back in the 90s? Fabio, yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry. My mom went to go live with Fabio.
And I turned into a seagull and hit him in the face.
Yes!
I thought it was a goose.
That is the best Fabio story. So they have this urge to save the sub, so they get the gang together, they turn into dolphins, and they go to save the submarine. Yay! Somehow. Like, what are they gonna do?
Yeah. We're gonna swim at the submarine.
I guess they're like, oh, we'll help them find it. Like that's the plan.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like they go to just check out the situation, and then they get there, and they're like, well, there's divers.
Yeah.
I guess we'll kidnap one of them and drag them to the submarine so they know where it is.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Like a classic Animorphs plan of like, we'll just show up and figure it out.
Yeah.
And their figure it out is, let's kidnap a diver.
I love how Jake is just like, yep, let's kidnap a diver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Jake doesn't have a plan. Like, nobody has a plan. Yeah. Rachel has the only plan.
Let's take this innocent woman and pull her to the depths of hell.
Right. And, like, yeah, like that's what they do, kind of.
Yep.
Right?
They say she fights it at first, but then she sort of understands.
They understand the mystical nature of dolphins.
No.
Which, again, is also a 90s thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's very Lisa Frank, where it's like, oh, you know what, like, Cassie mentions that, like, you know, I think dolphins have a soul.
Yeah.
Which is also a weird thing for Cassie to say, because don't all animals have souls in Cassie's mind, you know?
Oh, plot hole. Got you!
Cassie's just a dolphin girl.
Applesauce, bitch.
Ooh. That's what Michael Grant licks off his face. Never mind. Never mind.
Only when he's hitting it just right, you know.
Warren!
I like how long it took me to get there.
It's fine.
It's my innocent brain.
I hope this is the one he chooses to listen to. Yeah, I love when my favorite young adult author is good at fucking his wife.
He has to be good at it.
Are you kidding me?
Or at least competent enough
to look like a walking scrotum. Yeah.
Oh God.
So they drag this poor diver to the surface.
Yeah.
And then explosion. That's how we kick off the story. Is just like, for no reason except the story needs to move forward, nuclear sub explode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're designed not to do that.
The only thing I could think of is that I don't even know if nuclear submarines use nuclear reactors as their power source, because that was the only thing I could think of.
Well, no,
unless you arm a
because
warhead.
this thing has like nuclear spears in it, though. Like, there's actual warheads in the submarine.
So you're probably going to mention something that totally missed me, because I know that they do have nuclear weapons on board, but unless you arm a warhead, they can't go off, even if you sit there and smack it with a hammer. So, like, just the fact that they would go off, it's one of those things, and I'm like, why did it? That's what made me think that there was like a reactor meltdown or something. But at the same point, like you guys talk about,
and I never thought about, like, yeah, you're right. There's probably a safety mechanism so they don't explode randomly.
Oh God, it was probably like a guy. He's like, I'm gonna end the world. And he takes the submarine and wrecks it.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Wait. This is the 90s, right?
Yeah.
No, see, it was Q in his early days down there working on the sub, planning.
Right. Yeah. The ultimate Q drop.
10 megatons.
It's time to take out the deep state in its infancy.
Take out that deep sperm.
And then time travel. Well, wait, hold on. Did Q also like do the time travel? Maybe he got like popped into a different location. That's how he knows so much information.
Or he's just pulling it out of his ass because he's completely insane.
I'm holding back so much Joe Biden right now.
Listen, keep that bottle up, and then I want a Joe Biden explosion when it's the right moment. Just explode that Joe Biden all over me.
They say they got a guy Q here.
No,
runs government. Send y'all welfare. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm R. It's Robinette. It's my middle name. I'm in charge now. I hate it so much.
So the sub explodes.
Sario rip.
And then they do the Sario rip. So for those of you who aren't familiar, the Sario rip is, I guess, if you explode a big thing, it causes a time warp for only the Animorphs.
And then they jump to the left.
Like
and
nobody
then they
else
hop
is
to the
sent
right.
back in time. The diver, no.
I'm picturing like when we drop the bomb on Hiroshima, like the Japanese villagers sent back in time.
Oh, no.
It's like that episode from Heroes where Hero is just like in changing trans, like, hey.
God. I would do my hero impression, but it's problematic.
Yeah, you probably should not do the hero. But yeah, they get sent back in time, but they don't know it immediately, right?
Because
They're kind of
for
knocked back from the explosion.
They're very dumb.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Yeah.
I was
Except
reading
Tobias.
this morning, and the entire time I'm sitting here like with the shit you kids deal with, why would time travel not be the first thing you would think of? Like, hey, look, we were in this area.
Especially Jake.
Jake's done it.
Jake has done a time travel before. But he's like, oh, where are we? And why is all the sky different?
And then the Leviathan eats
How come
them,
I
and
don't
it's
see
like
a basketball court?
it was like I kept turning to Kay when I was reading it this morning, being like, they still don't realize they've gone back in time. Like they still don't realize they've gone back in time. I know they still have developing brains.
Yeah, everyone except for Tobias has the densest brain imaginable. It's like their skull has turned Cro-Magnon in this time warp, except for Tobias for whatever reason.
It's because all birds know where they came from.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I'm still Cro-Magnum.
Yeah, what about it?
It's Brandon Lee's penis. Cro-Magnum.
That's such a deep cut. Who's gonna get that joke?
I don't give a fuck. It's for me. It's for Daddy.
He got shot by the Cro-Magnon.
Oh, God.
Okay, no more Brandon Lee cuts. We gotta. There's enough tangents.
So they're back in time.
Right, and they're
They're
being
like,
chased.
whoa, a volcano.
Yeah.
Why is there a volcano here?
The trees look different, and then there's this big creature that's gonna like chasing us down. Right. Tobias kind of knows that something is up. He's like, I recognize this creature. Rachel's gung ho to fight it, right? Because that's just Rachel.
Yeah, there's some long necks swimming. I don't remember what they're called. Swimming long necks, as I like to call them.
Brontosauruses?
No.
Ooh.
She knows.
Elasmosaurus.
Sorry, they know. That was my bad.
No worries.
Elasmosaurus. There's Kronosaurus that eats them.
Crone is time in Latin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
That must be it.
Hey, oh!
Kronos, father
Get it,
of
Latin.
Zeus, ate all of his
Never mind.
children.
For fun.
Hey, that reminds me. You know what has 4 eyes and eats its children?
Joe Biden.
Woody Allen. Woody Allen.
Oh, no.
Oh fuck.
This creature does not have 4 eyes.
This is the best episode of Animorphing Time I think we've ever done.
It's all zingers and nor Animorphs.
So they get eaten.
Yeah.
Rachel and Tobias get eaten.
Right, because Rachel wants to fight it. Tobias wants to save Rachel from fighting an obvious monster.
They see some teeth coming up from under them, and yeah. Tobias is like, well, I guess we're eaten now.
Yeah, this is the most terrifying part in this book for me, was them getting eaten. Right, because it describes them in great detail about getting, swallowed whole, sliding down, landing in a puddle. Oh, this is puddle
stomach
water?
acid.
No, it's not. It's not water. It's stomach acid. And now I'm melting, and I can't breathe, and I'm being crushed to death.
Yeah, I morphed back. My tail's melting. Everything hurts. There's no air. My lungs are dying. I'm dead.
Right.
Like, horrifying. Like, we're being blasé about it, sure, because, I mean, that's what this podcast is. But it's legitimately horrifying. Choking to death on acrid air in a stomach? No thanks.
Yeah, what was your take on this chapter?
Oof.
So that chapter always stuck with me as a kid, but
Well, I don't know. There aren't many things that make me squeamish, but the thought of, for whatever reason, like when I think about being in a stomach, you think about some cartoons and stuff you've seen where it's like this big gaping chasm, and there's room to move around in, and then they talk about it being in there, and there's like a rock
Oh, you're talking
in
about
there.
my ex-wife.
Ah!
You weren't married.
I've never been married.
Sorry, oh Rip.
No, but
That
yeah,
happened
yeah,
in a different
continue.
place in a different time.
But yeah, you think of like being swallowed by a whale. You think of
Yeah.
like Pinocchio. It's like, oh, there's like a cabin in there.
Yeah, and when Tobias is talking about even Rachel is like getting mashed up against him kind of thing, and he's in his fragile hawk body, and the girl that he likes is grinding on him, but not in a fun way, you know?
Yeah, and they mentioned also that there's like other like rocks and bones in there grinding up on them too. It's bad news. So for those of you who don't know, like the Megamorphs kind of jump back and forth between scenes. So like it splits into two groups. You have the Rachel and Tobias group, that is swallowed group, and you have the coward group, which is everyone else: Axe, Marco, Cassie, and Jake. They book it. They escape from this dinosaur, right?
Yeah, they
Spitters or
swim to the
quitters.
beach.
Right. Yeah, so the quitters group like goes to the beach and they're saying, "Oh, our friends are dead." Oh no. Of course they escape later.
Yeah.
If they just hung around for any amount of time, they would have seen that. But they didn't. They ran away immediately.
Yeah, they're like, oh, the boardwalk's gone. Oh, well, let's follow these giant dinosaur tracks.
Right. They still have not put it together that they warped back in time. They step into a dinosaur track and they're like, "Oh, this is a big step mark here. What's this? An elephant?
Yeah, is this a new game at the boardwalk?
Hey, are we?
Where's the school?"
Did we get blasted somewhere where there's elephants like big, and these trees don't look right, and like something's been eating the plants on top of the trees. This is all very weird. I have no idea where we are.
You sound like all of my relatives.
But yeah, that's the brain you gotta have if you get sent back in time and you don't recognize you've been sent back into time.
Yeah.
You're like, "Oh, the air is cleaner. Why?"
You know, something I was thinking about is like they are not adapted for the higher content of oxygen in the air.
No, they are not.
Isn't it possible that they might have had a little bit of an oxygen high while walking around?
I'm trying to remember what the oxygen content was with Cretaceous versus Jurassic.
Significantly higher.
It's higher, but
still, I almost feel like that they should have been like woozy and a little bit delirious because they were not adapted for that atmosphere.
It's why
I like the idea of like the helium content being too high. And like, "Oh, why are we talking like this?"
Oh my gosh!
"Oh, voice is all squeaky. I feel kind of stupider." Maybe that's it. Maybe they got stupid because the oxygen quality was so low or high. Maybe it's like too much oxygen, right? The mix was so wrong that it made them dumb, and they just couldn't figure it out.
I'm self-conscious that the other podcast is smarter than us.
Yeah, they solved it. They solved it. And that's why Tobias is like, "You dumb idiots, we're back in time."
Jake, they're wandering around. Cassie's like genuinely sad about her friend dying, but she's forcing herself not to feel it.
And everyone else is also kind of weirdly okay with Rachel
Yeah.
and Tobias just being dead.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
I force myself not to feel things all the time. It's great.
I think part of it is they were just in survival mode. Like they were just like, if we don't do something, we're gonna die. And so they were just they were compartmentalizing things because they knew that shit was real and they were trying to keep
for sure.
themselves afloat.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing the thing that we all hope that we would do in a similar situation that I know I would not do.
You just keep moving no matter what.
No, like what you do is you crawl into a ball and you stay.
Until something comes and eats you.
That's what you do when you're in a life or death situation. You just like crawl into a ball and just be dead.
No, I'm Serio. I'm turning into human Noki over here.
Hey, oh.
Hey,
Oh, a little pepperoni snack for a big dinosaur over here.
Cassie's got a great line. She says, "If there's a way to survive, Rachel will find it."
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the hope you give yourself when you think your friend is dead.
Right, and
Yep.
then we cut to Rachel and Tobias. Rachel's like, "I need to escape. I know. I'll turn into a bear and cut through the lungs."
Oh,
Yes.
I
Which
love
was
that.
the coolest moment of this book by far.
This was
Yes.
so fucking sweet. She's like, "Fuck this. I'm a bear. I know where there's air in lungs."
Right. How sound of mind you must be while being digested to say, like, "You know, I know exactly where I can get some air. Just right next door."
Rachel's digging through dinosaur stomach into lung.
Yeah, and they just like pop out somehow, right? Like,
Well, I mean,
I mean, she kept clawing through there, and then, like, I like when she popped through to the lung, and she's just like, breathe, Tobias, there's air. Like, just...
Is it mostly blood, though? Like,
Yes.
because it's not like normal air, right?
So, here's the thing. Y'all ever had or seen someone with a collapsed lung?
I imagine it's like a bit of jerky, right? There's nothing in there.
Yeah.
No, like when you pop that bitch, it's like all the air escapes, and you need to like decompress the body. Like you need to let more air in. So not only is there a hole through this motherfucking dinosaur's stomach into its abdominal space, so it's just spewing bacterial acid all into its body, it now can't breathe and is suffocating to death. And I guess that's why I'm on this show.
But like, hold on, Tyler. I do have a medical question in this scenario.
Go on.
So when air escapes in the body, right? Like, so let's say you have a punctured lung.
Yeah.
It has to go somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So I've heard this story, and I'm sorry, I'm about to get real gross. So I heard this story about a COVID patient who had a punctured lung. Right? Who was, for whatever reason, COVID related, had a punctured lung. It went through their stomach, through their gastrointestinal tract. Had to find a way to escape. It blew their scrotum off.
No.
Is that a thing that can happen?
That sounds kind of far-fetched. I'm not a medical
Tyler,
professional.
but do you believe that story? This is a story I heard. I don't have confirmation, but medically, in your medical opinion, is this a thing that could happen where air so forcefully gets expelled out of a body that just finds the path of least resistance?
No, like the path of least resistance is just all areas directly around the lung, because when you do have a punctured lung, air does escape into your skin, and if you touch the skin, it's like popping popcorn. It's called crepitus.
Okay, but like, let's say it didn't come out the skin, instead it went out the other end.
I can't imagine that it would. I don't imagine COVID is stored in the balls. No. like it's hard for me to believe that air would make it that far into the balls.
Okay,
Yeah, 'cause it would
there's
just-
a long path
yeah.
there.
Right.
It would have to be like super pressurized and just... Phew.
Because I had a trauma patient once with a collapsed lung, and we put the chest tube in, so air was like reinflating the lung while also escaping. It's really weird. I'd try to explain it, but I'm a little drunk. And the air escapes through the soft tissues, so you can actually press on skin and pop the air out of the skin. Like you can do it on faces. Sometimes air, like it'll go up your neck to your face, so you just pop air out of skin. It's super cool.
Okay, so like we're picturing then that a bird and a bear get popped out of like a punctured skin hole, right, where this air is pocketed up, and they just kind of make their way to land.
Yeah, the Chronosaurus beaches itself is what it says.
Because it sounds like it, because it's in so much pain, and like you're saying, it's got a collapsed lung, it can't breathe, so it probably is going to the surface to try and... It's an animal, it's panicking, and then it beaches itself. And because Rachel mentions that when she pierces through, water starts rushing in, and that's how they're able to get out of the body. And so I mean, it's lucky for them that it beached itself and they didn't end up in the middle of the ocean having to swim to shore. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
Fuck Mesozoic
Well, especially for
oceans.
Tobias too, because he's not in great shape.
No,
he's
he's
a
little
bird
fucked up.
with a broken wing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With a melted tail.
melted tail, broken wing, in a bad way.
His girlfriend has to rescue him. He feels totally emasculated.
Well, he always feels how can he feel emasculated? He's a bird, right? He's more bird than human, right? He doesn't have those hang-ups.
Oh, this
He's
is
more
the book
bird
where he's
than
more
man
bird
now.
than human.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
It's true.
So they're beached, and Tobias is like, "Oh man, my wing's fucked up. Don't worry, I'll use this well-established thing we have where if we morph, it heals our injuries."
Right. They've done it a million times at this point.
Yeah.
And so he does that. He morphs and
Becomes human. It's like, oh great, everything works. Cool. I'm a 13-year-old,
and then he morphs back.
but his wing is still broken.
Yeah, and it's never addressed why his wing why the morphine healing does not work.
Yeah, they're just
anymore.
like, oh, I guess that didn't work. Oh well.
I was confused by that as well.
How did you feel when you read that?
When I brought it up with Kay, they said that just Serio Rip.
Yeah.
Serio Rip messes with stuff, and that's just chalked up to like
That's
explains
pretty
it
much
away.
it. It's
Yeah,
Stereo
that's-
Rip.
Yeah. Serio Rip and
it's a
Elemist
Serio
are kind of
Rip.
interchangeable.
Yeah.
I mean, there are probably some super Animorphs fans who could make the arguments of why this could work. I'm not one of them. I don't care.
I think it makes for a better story to have Tobias kind of messed up. So
Yeah, for
I'm actually kind of cool with it.
Adding limitations to the story makes the story better.
Right.
Yep.
Having a weak Tobias led to some cool situations later on down
Very
the line.
cool, yeah.
Yes,
Right.
it did.
But since it's Megamorphs, we now cut back to the loser team.
Yeah, the fucking dorks.
The Dorko team. Sorry.
Before we get back to the dorks,
Mm-hmm.
we got to talk about one of my favorite bits of this, where Rachel sets the bird's wing and makes a little sling out of her morphing suit.
Yeah, that's right. She makes a little like leotard sling.
Yeah.
And so there's like a little sad bird with like a little broken wing sling. She has to set the bone, which I don't know if I could do. You've set many a bone before, right?
Yeah, I've helped, yeah.
Yeah, so like it's a maneuver, and on a bird, I feel like they're just so fragile that I would just I'd mess them up.
Like the hardest part of setting a bone is not so much the actual bone setting, because if you break something, all the muscles around it are like super tense from pain.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're continuously spasming because they're out of where they should be. So part of why we sedate people to reset their like broken bones or whatever is to relax the muscles. That's your fun medical fact for this one.
Fun.
Because like you can reset a bone if they're awake, but it's a lot fucking harder when their muscles are spasming and fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Tobias seemed very chill with the situation, though.
Although I will say that if you dislocate a like knuckle of your finger, it's easiest to reset immediately after the injury. So if you ever do something like that, just pull your finger back into place real quick. If nothing's broken, it's easier. Because the longer it's out of place, the harder it is to put back into place.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a nice satisfying pop when you put a hip back into place. It's fucking gorgeous.
I guess that.
That's all I got. I love resetting fucking bones.
And I'm also glad that you stopped me from moving on, because there's also one awesome like line here from Tobias about he's been spewing off dinosaur facts this entire time. And Rachel's like, where are you getting this information? Like, how did you know so much about dinosaurs? And he's like, well, I had to escape from my living situation a lot.
Yeah, oh God.
And you know, like, because he's like, oh yeah, my uncle used to drink, and you know, he'd yell at me, and I'd have to like go and find my own thing to do. So I, you know, had a whole bunch of dinosaur toys, and I would go off and play with dinosaur toys. Which, like, if you've ever like been in the situation where you're just like not feeling great at home, or like knowing what to do, like you escape immediately. Kids are fantastic at like escapism,
really good at it,
right?
I would know I had a perfect childhood from start to finish. Never had to escape. It's great the whole time.
Yeah, you just read Animorphs like from an academic point of view.
Yeah, I was analyzing the themes and motifs, really.
Yeah, not trying to escape from anything.
Wasn't hiding the fact that my dad would pour garbage on me and call me the F slur.
Yeah, exactly. Because of that, you learned a lot about Animorphs.
I did.
There's a clear path there, right? Because like, you know, you're a kid, you're a sponge, you're taking everything, right? So it's easy to see how Tobias just like now knows everything about dinosaurs.
Yeah, and I got a lot of the same knowledge of like 90s Spider-Man comics and X-Men comics. It's like I'm probably the adult who thinks the most about Maximum Carnage that's ever lived, only because it was better than, you know, being hit.
Or Venom.
You guys got any trauma you want to talk about?
I mean, I shared some of it, but
you did.
I'll just say that, yeah, Tobias, relatable.
Yeah, it was a very beautiful human moment in like this popcorn action book, which is, I think, one of the great draws of Animorphs, is these wonderful little pieces of true humanity that pop up in fucking Dinosaur Stomach Rippers, the book.
Yeah. Yes. Time traveling teenagers and the dinosaur stomach rippers.
Time traveling teenagers who don't realize that they're fucking time traveled, even though everything is fucking different.
But see, that's why Tobias knows, because he grew up fast.
Jake at the end of this book is like, where's the boardwalk? It's still not here. Huh.
Jake could go through the whole book and just be at the very... Wait, were those dinosaurs? Like...
So, yeah, so like they go. So like, cut back to the Dorko team. Like they're being chased by a T-Rex at this point, right? And they're like, "Whoa, I think we're back in time." Like they finally figured out once they're being chased by a dinosaur.
That chicken's huge and he's got no feathers.
Well, I mean, they
this
have
is-
feathers. Like, but
This is
we'll
pre.
get back to that.
Yeah, with Marco, like in that scene, when they're being chased by the T-Rex, and he's like, I was screaming, I was crying as I ran. It was panic, pure panic. Leaves slapping my face, twigs whipping my bare arms. Because he's just... I'm surprised that they made a... I'm trying to remember who it was that made a comment about peeing themselves out of fear. And it might have been Marco. But I feel like if you're running from a T-Rex, you probably would have been leaving a little bit of a trail behind you.
Well, especially Marco. I feel like Marco's the one that is most affected by fear. It's what's kept him alive. Right, and it keeps him alive here. Like, and he has the smartest idea, right? Because he's being chased by this T-Rex. Right, they run into a T-Rex, and he's like, "Everyone, go small. Like, we're not gonna fight this thing.
Right.
It's a giant monster." And he picks the smallest thing he can think of, which is an osprey. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" Marco, you had the good idea. Why are you changing into the biggest bird in California? Well, actually, that's the condor. But like ospreys are pretty big. Right? They're not small birds. He has mice. He has a mole. He has an ant. He has a cockroach. There's so many options. He's like, no, I'm going to pick the giant bird.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that made me laugh about that whole part was like in the part before when they first see like a long neck, or I can't remember the specific.
It was a type of sauropod.
Yeah, type of sauropod.
No, it's a long.
Probably,
we're all
and
land before time terminology.
His name's Littlefoot. It's fine.
Yeah.
He's been forced to watch him. So,
but the T-Rex, comes out and kills.
Oh, we're gonna get into it.
One.
Don't worry.
Yeah, T-Rex comes out and kills a baby sauropod, and I'm just sitting here like,
that's right.
Like, why did it chase them? It just had a kill. It's got a meal. I didn't get, like, why is it bothering with these tiny little, chicken nuggets? It just has a giant steak in front of it. Like, there was no... I could see it chasing them to be like, get away from my food, like, and then turning around and going back and eating. But it was like, oh, no, I'm going to get me some bonus snacks, even though it made a fresh kill.
Well, I think we run into that later with Cassie, right? Because when Cassie... Spoiler alert, they eventually do, acquire a T-Rex, because of course they would.
Of course they would.
Right, so when Cassie turns into a T-Rex, like, she feels that, like, killer instinct. Like, pure predators just kill anything. Just anything that's in sight. I've seen this with chickens, actually, which is a weird thing to say. But, like, chickens are predators. They will kill anything that they see, right? They will kill mice. They will kill grasshoppers. They will kill anything. They'll kill each other, right? Because they have small, simple brains, and they just know if there's a thing that is food, I want to kill it. And eventually maybe I'll go back and eat it. Right? So that's how I think that it's happening right now, is Marco is just kind of being chased because it's a predator, not because it's hungry. Like, it has food back there. It can go back anytime.
And I can say that as someone who, like, will go have a fancy dinner and get a little fucked up with dinner, sometimes after dinner I just want some chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
Thank you, Warren, for bringing up chicken nuggets.
Just have a second dinner. I've done that. Like, but Nate, you have a full steak at home. But, like, chicken nuggets are right here.
It
and
could have
good.
been a juvenile T-Rex, too, being a little bit more cocky. But yeah.
Cock of the walkie?
Cock of the walkie, yeah. It was cocky because
murder
birds.
Yeah, murder bird.
Because a male bird is a cock.
Which, it's funny you brought up chickens, because they're kind of your closest link behaviorally to a lot of your dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs are
specifically galliforms.
If you've known a chicken for an extended amount of time, you know that they're just kind of like little raptors.
I'm sorry, this line of conversation offends me. I'm a creationist.
Warren.
Sorry, God made... Yeah, we should really clarify. So God came down and hid all the humans in this period.
That's what I didn't like about this book. They're like, oh, we're millions of years before society. It's like, society's only 2,020 years old.
Right. Like, what are they doing?
Idiots. fucking Kathy Apples, you fucking moron, you dumb fuck.
No, Ty, don't you get it? This is a trick by the devil.
Oh, God, I'm having
Speaking of a trick by the devil, our little devil axe takes care of the situation with no problem.
Yeah.
Because, here's what's happening. He's Marco is
devil axe.
Our little devil axe, right, takes care of the situation and just, like, brains this T-Rex with his tail.
Yeah,
just goes in, thwap, thwap, thwap.
Few slices, cuts that T-Rex's fucking throat.
Coolest thing Axis has done in a long time. And Axis immediately just like, oh fuck. Like it's shaking, it's scared, it's like, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. He's like, I could not do that again. Don't expect me to do that again. Please, dear God.
Yeah, well, that was just interesting how they're like all trying to praise Axe and be like, "Damn, Axe, you kicked the shit out of that thing," and he's just like, "Oh no. Like if I could not beat that thing 1-on-1, I would lose 9 out of 10 times." He's like, he's very humble in that regard. He's like, I am very aware of my own capabilities.
He's humble.
Oh, okay, fair.
I don't think that's a humble thing. I think that's more of just like have you ever done something by accident where like you accidentally landed like a cool like flip? You accidentally flipped and like landed it perfectly and was like, holy shit, that's awesome. It's like, no, I tripped and that I just fell down and caught myself. That was not a cool stunt.
I actually
don't try
have
to
done
do that.
So, yeah.
I'm not going to try to do that.
I will break my neck if I try that again.
So, yeah.
We get introduced to something. Axe introduces something that I didn't remember reading this book, but I'm very glad now that it's in my quiver.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about the human's dry humor and how he's never experienced wet humor.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's, God, that is a phrase that is going to stick with me now forever.
Okay, so after that adventure, Cassie does something in character, but was surprising, where she just like gets immediately to work of carving up this T-Rex.
Making
right?
sandals.
Yeah, she was like, it's like, okay, we're gonna use the tendons, axe, because you like cut off little squares, and we're gonna make clothes and sandals. And I was just like, damn, no, you love animals. What are you doing?
Yeah, she went for it fucking fast and hard, and that was a great little character detail.
Right. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that because like. Yes, this animal now is dead, but we're going to use every part of this T-Rex.
Yep.
Which is a Cassie move, right? Of just like, okay, I acknowledge that this living human soul is dead, and now we're going to respect it by, taking care of ourselves and really appreciating this dead T-Rex.
Yeah, we're going to make weapons out of its tendons. We're going to make shoes out of its skin.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, okay, Cassie. I
love that bit from Cassie because they're talking about, what do they do? And Cassie's, we adapt. Cassie said grimly, that's what animals have to do in order to survive. Our environment is massively different. No civilization to rely on. Surrounded by brutal predators. So we adapt, or we get eaten.
It's like, damn, Cassie, damn.
Well, Cassie had to learn some hard lessons, right? Like, she's been learning that, like, the world of nature is not always, like, cute, cuddly skunk babies.
Yeah.
It is sometimes your friend will eat a skunk baby. And, like...
My friend is dead. I want dinosaur shoes.
Kind of, yeah, right? Not
Rachel
want, though,
would
like,
want
need.
some dinosaur shoes. Rachel loved shoes.
Like, and it's wild to think about it, but Cassie is the first person in this scenario that would do a cannibalism. Right?
Yeah.
She is a survivalist, and I just like was not expecting that.
I would not say cannibalism because cannibalism is exceedingly rare. When shit goes sideways, people tend to band together.
True.
So, however,
and,
if one of them
and also
had died,
they have a whole
and they
T-Rex.
Well, I mean, yeah, but if one of them had died and they did have a body there, Cassie would be like, okay, well, he's dead,
like,
so
okay,
we
so
have to eat Jake. I call the dick.
Legs, thighs, stay away from the spine and the brain.
Yeah, I'm just saying that she would survive if she was a part of a soccer team.
Oh yeah, like if I wrecked, like you look, listeners. Here's a genuine piece of advice from someone who used to hunt. If you're ever crash your plane with your soccer team or friends or family or whatever, and you have a body and no food, fucking gut them immediately because that will spoil the meat if you don't. You got to get their intestines out. You got to get their bile out.
This is true.
But like that's why axe is so handy because it's just like, oh, carve off some steaks. And also T-Rex is so big that I feel like you got some time.
Yeah, you start on the outside and work in. You don't got to worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So we cut back to the cool kids team. The winners team, as I like to call them.
We call them the swallowers.
I was just about
the swallowers.
You beat me
Tobias
to it,
and Rachel.
Rachel's hungry as fuck. She's got torn up feet.
Yeah, because she does not have dino shoes at this point. Like, and she's just like, oh, don't worry about my bloody feet. You know, just take care of yourself, Tobias. And she's like, I feel bad for Tobias in this moment. Like, you know, it's obvious that there's a thing going on between them, but she's having to like baby carry Tobias.
Yeah.
And I feel that's not a cool dude look.
Yeah, she even says, his groan of pain made me feel guilty for thinking about my own problems. Tobias, maybe you should morph to human for a while. I'm sorry, you must be getting tired of carrying me. No, it's not that. It's just that your wing is hurting you. If you were in human morph, there wouldn't be any pain. I can only stay in morph for 2 hours, Rachel. Then I have to demorph, and I'm right back where I started. Plus, I won't continue healing during that time, not to mention the fact that you'd have to redo the splint, and that wasn't fun for either of us. You could just stay human, permanently. There are worse things.
So, to me, as someone who has not read this series, I read that as eventually there's going to be the conversation where everyone's going to try to convince Tobias just to stay human. That's what I'm just throwing that out there because like this feels like it's foreshadowing something deeper in that like Rachel wants just a human Tobias and doesn't care about the rest.
Well, yeah, she makes a comment later like, I couldn't read Tobias's face. God damn it. He's not easy to manipulate.
Well, yeah.
That's not.
Wait, what?
Nothing. That was a bad joke.
But like, what it says to me though is also just like Tobias. If given the choice right now, are you bird or are you boy? He's still picking bird. He's much.
Bird.
Mm-hmm. Right? He's just like, no, I like it this way. I like being a bird, even if I'm broken. You know, and like, it's cool that something like this exists in the weird throw-off time travel Megamorph story.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there are always these emotional stakes, and like I said earlier, it's great that these stupid adventure books come back to these little things where it's like Tobias just doesn't respond. I mean, what's he gonna say? It's like, sorry, my life as a bird is better than it's ever been.
I fell in love with another bird. There's no going back from that.
Right. Look, I know we go on dates sometimes, Rachel, but Price Cut Polly's back at home, and she's been doing this shit with a nest that's really revolutionary, and you just wouldn't get it. You're human.
But I still love you too, babe.
It's a side chick.
Yeah.
Side chick.
You're fine for a human, but when I want that bird pussy, when I want to lick that cloaca clean, I go home to Price Cut Polly.
See, Tobias could morph
Birds
into a
can't lick.
human.
Jesus Christ.
It's here! So, anyway, Tobias asks Rachel to hold him up because he sees something in the distance, and it's smoke from a campfire.
Yeah, what is this? What is this, fucking Lost? There's a smoke monster now?
Yeah, well, he's like, there's an encampment over there. Look at that. But then also, like, there's a herd of other dinosaurs running around, and he knows this because he too is a predator. And he's like, yeah. See, they're on the hunt. I know this, for I too am occasionally on the hunt.
The Triceratops are being hunted by a dinosaur whose name I can't pronounce. Kay, can you help us with that?
Deinonychus.
Deinonychus. That's so much better. I was gonna be like Dionychus. Dionychus.
Dionysus.
Dionysus.
Pan, the goat goddess.
The drunk dinosaur.
Chapter 13. Faster. Okay, more grass. Okay, hoof. That's how that chapter starts. I don't know why that is. Oh yeah, they're building a fire. Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're using T-Rex tendon to like move the stick back and forth really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like to do the thing that you're supposed to do to build a fire, which I would not do. I would do like the put it between your hands and spin real fast.
I think the whole thing is you can't spin it fast enough with your hands technically, and that's why you use the tendon. But
I for one would throw my hatchet in a fit of rage and accidentally hit some rocks.
All right, yeah, we get that you read another young adult book.
Is that a Lord of the Flies reference?
No, that's the hatchet.
It's from Hatchet.
Oh.
And Brian's Winter is another one in that series that
he lives in a
read.
tree. And you like honestly like this is kind of the hatchet, right? Like they're trying to live in nature.
I was actually thinking that
Yeah.
a bit.
Yeah, it totally is. And I mean, honestly, this shit works.
Yeah. Well, they build a fire. They build clothes, which I don't buy. They did not build sandals in like an hour.
Yeah, scraping all the meat off of it and like
Yeah,
tearing
or they're
the
just covered
hide.
in blood, right? Just like wearing this bloody carcass.
I'm trying to think. It's like dinosaur adipose would make like a really good like insole for your shoes, like to really be nice to your Achilles tendon. I think that's
would.
They're gelling like a felon.
good. God.
You know, they were going by arc rules. So,
we can just
they
make
unlocked
clothing
the
right away.
engrams and then
They
were
hit it
like,
with a rock and it turned into a shoe. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant there were only 2 dinosaurs or like only 2 animals.
No,
on the ark.
different arc. This is the cooler one.
We're video game nerds. Come on, get with it. Noah didn't have video games, otherwise he wouldn't have bothered with that stupid boat.
I don't believe in the fucking flood. Climate change is a hoax by the Chinese.
Sorry, God, I'm a gamer now.
Get good, scrub.
Yeah, I don't play games on a tablet anymore. Get out of here with those things. Fuck off.
So they build a fire, and what happens? They start having like their first watch because it's night and they're tired. Right?
I really like how Cassie's the one who's like, yeah, we're the first people to invent fire. This is fucking cool and kind of momentous.
Yeah, but honestly, it's also kind of lame. It's like if you're on a family like road trip and like, oh, check it out, we're between 4 states. Isn't that cool? Like, no, not really. Oh, we're the first human to build fire. Okay, I'm still cold.
You know, Marco's pissing everybody off in this because he's like, oh, now, like this is the first cooked food in all of history, Marco observed, plus the first complaint about food in all of history. Yes. Axeman, you want to grind a hoof on a piece of this? Or maybe you can morph into a human and eat it? And he's just like, no, I've been grazing pretty constant. Like, Axe is just like, no, we've been walking through nature. I'm full, man. Like,
Also, I love how Marco keeps on trying to make jokes to Axe, and Axe is just like, negative, I've eaten.
Yes.
Marco is the one that I identify with the most just because I make jokes a lot, and if things are ever very tense, I'm just like, hey, what about dicks? Aren't dicks weird? Like,
So they're all like eating like, Flintstones dinosaur steak.
Right.
Jake says like, oh, it tastes a little bit like swordfish, which I'm like, it's like, Jake, how upper class are you? This is
Seriously.
upper crust talk.
What
like-
fucking 10, 12-year-old is eating swordfish and it's like,
For real.
this dinosaur has notes of swordfish, maybe a touch of marlin. What the fuck?
I don't know. It tastes more like fish to me, really. Is that a hint of basil am I detecting?
There's a bit of Cretaceous oceanic flavor gaminess to this that I can't quite put my feelers on.
I don't think I ate a fish aside from like chicken of the sea until I was like 15. I think that was my only fish. Well, and a Filet-O-Fish, which is a guilty pleasure of mine.
I mean, yeah, extra mayo, extra pickles. It's fine. As an adult who tries to eat whatever food he can, I've still never had swordfish. I've eaten fried cow brains. Bad idea, because, Crutchfield Yaka.
Yeah, you don't want to get that.
But I've had it. It's very good. I mean, it's fried. How could it not
High
be good?
calorie, too, by the way. I don't know.
But I've never had swordfish.
Yeah.
Fucking little bastard.
I
Privileged
don't
little
think-
fucker.
I don't think that T-Rex would taste like swordfish.
No, why
No,
would
probably
T-Rex
not.
taste like
No,
swordfish? I mean,
would
that'd
just
be
be
like if
gamey.
that'd be like if they cut up a piece of that, sauropod that the T-Rex had killed earlier, and they're like, oddly enough, this tastes like macaroni and cheese. Like, I don't know why.
Well, I think also they're not carefully cooking the meat. It's probably just
No.
slab on fire, right?
That's true.
So they probably
No
and at a
seasonings.
certain point, all meat just tastes the same once it's overcooked. It just turns into stringy protein.
Tastes like a
I want to
shoe.
contribute to the meat talk, but all I've been able to think of is the Sauropod is Saruman's daily podcast where he talks about his feelings in Middle Earth.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Well, welcome to the Sauropod,
Let me make a
starring me,
note.
Saruman, and my brainless minions.
That would be
Man, aren't
fantastic.
Urukai weird? Huh?
It would be him talking about how he wants to be an equal to a Sauron, but he feels like he's always just going to be a second fiddle, and no matter what he does, it won't ever be good enough for the Dark Lord.
I mean, same.
So speaking of the Dark Lord, they're looking up at the sky, and they
the Majora's Mask.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. They see like, oh, that's a weird comet. I wonder what that is here in the time of the dinosaurs. Oh, well, good night.
Right? I turned to Kay when that came up when I was reading it. I was like, are they really? And Kay just kind of gave me this look, and I was like, oh my god.
Take a shot.
They're actually good. That's the, yep, okay.
Yeah.
They're doing it.
They have no idea. They're just like, that's a weird comet coming directly to Earth. Well, almost directly to Earth.
Yeah.
Axe looks at it. He's like, no, it'll miss us. It'll be fine.
It'll miss us by almost a mile, just barely.
Yeah,
just
like-
needs one nudge.
You dumb child. Don't you know that the odds of that hitting us are very low, you ignorant baby? God, I love pretentious Axe who's just like dismissive.
Yes.
It's fun.
Plutonium? Yeah, what is this, a kid's toy, you stupid fuck?
Listen, it's all we got. This is how we blow shit up. What do you have?
Oh, fusion reaction. Oh, because your brain's dumb and it doesn't work good.
Our smartest human made that.
You haven't even managed antimatter yet. You're so trivial.
So we have a drinking game with dinosaur documentaries, and so far this ticks 2 of the boxes. Volcano,
Okay.
just volcano, and
Yep.
the comet.
It's either one or the other. Although in
Yeah.
this case it might be flying alien pyramids, but we'll get to that.
I was
Ant-Man.
sad there was no alien baby hitting them all in the head with frying pans.
What?
Not the mama.
Oh.
Oh. Jesus
Honey,
Christ.
I'm home.
Kay got that. and I didn't.
The
baby, gotta love me.
See?
Yeah.
He gets me.
No,
What's your fucking problem?
I get dinosaurs.
Warren, you're the new host of Animorph Time with
No.
Tyler and Warren.
No,
It's fine. I'm
don't-
out of here. You can.
Don't do that. Kay, I only know it because of Kay. I'm just siphoning off of Kay's big brain. I remember Smooth Brain Warren.
Welcome to Animorph Time with Kay and Tyler.
Since we're there, like, Animorphs the TV show is real good. Just like if you haven't
love
watched
it.
it, like it still holds up. Like even looking at the episode titles, like what was the one they were looking at the other day?
Oh yeah, it was what sexual Harris meant.
Yeah, that was a
Yes.
good episode. Like
There's love dinosaurs.
it still is relevant because we have not changed.
Oh, it's even better now, I'd say.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's good.
Well, little guy, what happened was Daddy was put in charge of the world, and he didn't take real good care of it. And now it looks like there won't be much of a world left.
Jim Henson, good stuff. Good people. So they eat their steaks and go to bed, and then we cut back to the
Tobias.
cool team.
Tobias
The
making,
swallow
Swallowers.
team.
making friends with the Raptors.
Yeah.
So we get this really fun, great scene where they're being hunted by. Kay, can you say the name again?
Deinonychus.
Deinonychus. They're being hunted by Deinonychi. That's the plural, I bet.
Sure.
I'm very smart, good at
Deinonychus.
English. Deinonychus says. Deinonychi.
Good work. You did it.
And Tobias is like, wait, they're predators. I think they're hunting us. There's a leader. I have an idea. Throw me in a tree.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll curl up into a little bird football and huck me into a tree.
And that's kind of what Rachel does. She
Yep.
tosses him up into a tree.
Not
The-
before puking her guts out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
She does eat a fucking prehistoric coconut and fucking. Look, Tobias, when I said I wanted you to ruin my guts, I didn't mean with a coconut. Sorry.
Well, they do say it's because she's running, and as a chubby guy who, when I try to run, I do feel like throwing up and have thrown up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime I go faster than walk, it's like, am I going to shit or puke? What's going to happen here?
Or both. Well, I shit myself and puke.
It's like
I can
that.
do 2 things at once. I can multitask. This is the 21st century. We have to do
I'm a
multiple
smart,
things.
rounded person. I can shit and puke.
God damn it, I'm a Homo sapien. I can do what I want with my both holes.
Humans can reason. We can make art. I can shit and puke.
You, with your dumb dinosaur brains, wouldn't understand.
You don't understand compositions or alloys. Molecular structures. Little Army of Darkness.
Yeah,
there.
that's good. But like, I think Tobias understands these creatures, and I would like to understand these creatures as well.
Is there anybody who knows anything about the Deinonychus? Animal facts!
Dinosaur facts!
Dinosaur facts! Whoop, 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 whoop.
Prince Jake and Cassie Tobias and Alex, Rachel and Marco, the bandits are here. They want to listen to animal facts. Fuck all the yerks, Marco's mom is a bitch.
Alright, so I apologize first. I
Okay,
went
that's a
on
great start.
rabbit hole.
I'm ready to go down this rabbit hole. Let's go.
As Warren can tell you.
Kay is also a former teacher.
So,
Oh, hell yeah. We're going to learn.
Deinonychus anteropus is a dromaeosaurid dinosaur from the early Cretaceous, about 115 to 108 million years ago. Dromaeosaurs are the theropod group that include Velociraptor, Microraptor, Utah Raptor.
Microraptor?
Yes, Microraptor is adorable. You should look it up.
Utah Raptor.
Yes.
They've got the wall. They've got the wall of Zion between prey.
So I actually have a little bit on them because Deinonychus and Utah Raptor have a fun history together.
Ooh.
But it is also part of the group called Paraaves, which is the group that includes Troodontids, which are the smartest non-avian dinosaurs, dromaeosaurids, and then all birds. In 2017, there was a cladogram that put birds into Humaniraptora, which is kind of the group that holds both dromaeosaurs and avalans, which are all types of birds, extant and non-extant. Mm-hmm. So, here now and not here now. Deinonychus is named for its sickle claw, which the name Deinonychus actually means terrible claw. When I was
They're big into terrible prefixes when it comes to this period.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
The scientist just like, this dinosaur's terrible. This dinosaur's terrible.
This is all terrible.
When I was a kid, I actually had this cassette tape that had all these dinosaur songs because I'm a fucking nerd. And one of the
really,
songs
we're
was...
very cool with an Animorphs podcast. Are you kidding me?
So, like, one of the songs is actually like about the terrible claw, and it's been stuck in my head since I was 3. So, the species name Anteropus comes from the Greek word for counterbalancing, referring to their stiff tail. You could find Deinonychus in Montana, Utah, Wyoming, and Oklahoma. And in Utah, we find them at the Cedar Mountain Formation. They were originally discovered in 1931 near Billings, Montana, by Barnum Brown, who was the lead paleontologist for that expedition, but he didn't give a fuck about him because he was there for Tenontosaurus. And
so he's like looking for one thing, found a different thing. He's like, I don't care about this shit. Get out of here.
Basically, like he goes.
Scientists are great.
Oh my god! I was reading this part, just going like, you dick. This is the most important find you've stumbled across. That he was like, oh, it's encased in lime, difficult to prepare, and goes, we'll just call it Daptosaurus agilis for right now, and I'll describe it later. And then he never did.
That's what I understand about like all paleontologists, though, right? Is this they find random bones, like I bet you I could make a cool creature with these, like it's like, and they just guess, and like it's just a series of just like terrible mistakes up until like somebody said like maybe we should actually pay attention to how we're fitting these things together.
Oh
right?
Yeah, it's wild. Like this dinosaur at one point got combined with another dinosaur called Microvenator, and it was like they found the head of Microvenator with Deinonychus teeth around it and went, okay, that makes sense, even though the teeth were like too big for the skull.
I hope somebody does that with my skeleton. Just like, it's like, oh, what is this creature? And they put like a dog head on my head, and then like add like tiny cat arms. Like, oh, this thing is messed up.
Square peg in a round hole. Make it fit.
This human skull has teeth that are too big for its body. Oh, let's call it a Londonist Englishman.
And it wasn't corrected until John Ostrom, who is a badass in paleontology, discovered better Deinonychus remains in 1964. and
That's
then...
the megachurch guy, right? John Ostrom
no.
wouldn't open his church to like refugees. What?
Joel Osteen.
Oh, Joel Osteen. Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
that motherfucker.
One's a paleontologist.
But John Ostrom found like 3 different Deinonychus, and by 1969 officially renamed the species from the unofficial Daptosaurus. They're about medium-sized theropods, about 11 feet long, 2.9 feet at the hip. They weigh between...
So I couldn't, ride one, say. Like, if I wanted to, go about town. Okay.
No.
Like, Ben Shapiro could ride one.
Yeah, a tiny man. Could a tiny man, ride one?
Like a little wee man, a little manlet could hop on one.
A child might, because...
Yeah, I said Ben Shapiro.
they were only about 161 to 200 pounds, and at a normal
God, must
posture,
be nice.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, at a normal posture, their head came about above a man's hip, and
perfect.
Just 'cause
yeah.
Of that, yeah. Just because of that, though, you don't underestimate these murder birds, because their mouths have 70 teeth.
They'll bite you in the
that are
dick.
just these curved blades. They had pretty decently powerful jaws. Their skulls were more robust. Velociraptor, and this is kind of playing into the whole Jurassic Park thing, Velociraptor has kind of this little divot in its nose that makes it Velociraptor. Deinonychus doesn't have that. But they have 3-fingered hands that look similar enough to Archaeopteryx hands that John Ostrom, who I mentioned earlier, saw these birds and went, or these dinosaurs, and went, holy fuck, those are bird hands, these are fucking birds. And the fun thing with Deinonychus is this is the species that led to the dinosaur renaissance, pretty much, because it changed the script from slow, sluggish lizards to fast, agile murder birds for theropod dinosaurs, and then that trickled down everywhere else.
It's kind of wild that I didn't really think of, if you think about lizards now, they are just kind of slow blob monsters. For the most.
The big ones.
Yeah, the big ones, right?
Little lizards, man, those things are fucking horrifying.
Yeah, but we're not talking about little. I mean, it's like alligator. You look at an alligator, you're like, this is not a fast predator.
Well, they always thought they were tripods first. Like, they were so big that their tail would drag on the ground, and then you see them change, and they look more like birds, where their tail goes straight out, and it's a counterbalance for their big fucking heads.
Yeah. And
they do have giant heads.
Yeah, I'm a fucking tripod over here, you know what I'm saying? Oh!
Hey! Yeah, Gosserio ripped my pants with his big dick.
And, this... the discovery of Deinonychus, the proper discovery and description of them is what led to the whole, birds are in dinosaur, and this is a group of warm-blooded, quote-unquote, reptiles, and so where do birds go in all of this? And as I always tell Warren, birds fuck up cladograms. Just all the time. Birds are assholes. I love them, but they're assholes. And this was an old the birds coming from dinosaurs was an old hypothesis that no one took seriously until Ostrom revived it by discovering the terrible clawboy. They also did find Deinonychus near eggs, and it helped out with the birds or dinosaur theory, because the way that it was there, it was very obvious that these were Deinonychus eggs, and it was brooding the eggs with its body heat, which isn't a thing that crocodilians tend to do. And one egg in a Deinonychus was actually found trapped underneath the dinosaur, and they're not sure if it was that the dinosaur died while brooding, or if the dinosaur was egg-bound and that egg was actually trapped in the oviduct. Their babies were precocial, so like baby chickens, and could eat for themselves upon birth, go hunt little bugs and lizards and stuff. But that puts their developmental cycle closer to other reptiles than your allotricial birds like songbirds that have to have parental care 24/7.
See, and I'm just picturing this tiny little Deinonychus jumping and going after little bugs. I'm like, that is fucking adorable. I want one.
You should play Saurian. To answer the question about dino dicks, maybe.
Here we go. This is the one. Oh yeah.
Okay, it doesn't have a dinosaur dick and balls though. It's not like a normal dick and balls.
I'm just gonna picture dinosaur with this huge floppy dick.
So they think that they had, similar to a lot of less derived bird groups like ducks and geese and then crocodilians, that their penis was kind of tucked away in the cloaca and then just wouldn't come out until it was time to bone down.
That's how mine does. That's what it does.
There have been a lot of theories about, like, oh, how did they have sex? But the one that I'm here to say
is
this
why
is
did they have
absolutely
sex?
wrong.
What were they feeling?
The one that's absolutely wrong, and fuck this guy, is the sex lake theory.
Sex Lake?
Yes.
I mean, I like the name. I don't know how I feel about the rest.
Yeah, Sex Lake. Sign me up.
So this motherfucker, Brian J. Ford, is like, oh, dinosaurs were too heavy. They couldn't have sex unless they were in a lake, and that's why they all died out, was because the lakes dried up.
I mean...
Which would be fine if he did this in, like, the 1800s, but this was 2018.
That's why fat
great.
people only have sex in pools. Jesus Christ,
That's why we
fucking
invented
idiot.
swings for the house, man.
Right?
That is some Ben Carson level. Oh, the pyramids were grain silos level garbage. What is going on? Like, oh, they need to fucking a lake because they're too heavy.
Tall basketball players were the first people to invent pulleys so they could get laid.
It's like, was there a truce around the lake? It's like, all right, listen, guys, we all have to do this. So
Yeah, just
don't
imagine
don't
trying to
mess
drink
with
from that
anybody.
lake
I know you're
afterwards.
hungry.
Yeah,
But,
the giant crocodile pops out of the sex leak, eats some pussy, and goes back underwater.
They're all wearing like little dino masks. Like, all right, here we go.
Then they get thirsty afterwards. They have to drink from the lake, and they're like,
No,
oh, this
you
is
can't.
nasty.
You don't do that from the same lake. You gotta find a different lake.
Who wants to do a shot of sex lake water?
If
It's
you
salty.
guys...
It's salty, but it's good.
Dinosaur Larry, don't fucking drink from the sex lake.
It's sex lake, baby. Woo!
Dude,
Megamorphs,
it's not
sex lake.
It's not cool. It's not sexy when you drink from the sex lake.
That sounds like the word someone ain't never had no sex lake.
No, dude, it's just fucking weird. Don't drink this like.
I like that
I get
tang
the
that stays on
feeling.
your
Bartender, I'll
tongue
have
afterwards.
his sex lake.
Nobody
Oh,
likes
God.
it. Just-
Now, back after the sex talk,
you knew when
We
you brought
have-
up sex lake, we would go off on
Yeah.
sex lake.
This
Oh,
is
yeah.
what
Oh,
we
They
do.
knew what they were doing.
I knew what I was doing. But so the one thing that everyone thinks about with raptors is pack hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And there is evidence for it, because their most common quarry was Tentanosaurus, which is a hadrosaur, one of the duck-billed dinosaurs, that weighed about 1 and 4 ton, or between 1 and 4 tons.
Yep, yep.
Hell yeah.
So
I love
one
the
of
idea
those
of a
couldn't take it
duck-billed
down.
dinosaur, by the way. Like, you can't just
Yes.
go off. It's like a platypus. It's like what a platypus became. Because, like, what the hell is a platypus? But like a weird dinosaur relic.
Yeah, it's...
Anyway, sorry, continue.
Oh, no, you're fine. So they found that, and then they also found dinosaurs in Cloverleaf Quarry, that was 4 adults and a juvenile. And so they were going, okay, well, maybe this was a pack that was hunting together. But Roach and Brinkman were kind of like, well, let's look at their closest living relatives. So the last 2 groups of archosaurs, crocodiles and birds, don't tend to hunt in packs. And they looked at another large extant carnivorous reptile, Komodo dragons, and found that when it came to pack hunting, that's not a thing with them either. In fact, they tend to be solitary, or if they're
They
in
do like
groups,
cooperative hunting, right? Like where a tense
Tiny
truce,
bit.
right?
Yeah, it's a tense truce, and if smaller ones come up to the kill, they will often get eaten. if they come up too soon.
Yo. We can all agree we're all hungry, okay? And this asshole looks delicious. So we'll kill this asshole, we'll each get a bite, and then we'll go our separate ways, okay?
Basically, like that's.
I've
that's
done
the
that
way
to a
they
pie.
were.
It's cool.
They have found like cannibalism in some of the specimens, so
Yeah.
it's kind of in the air. With the birds, you don't really get cooperative hunting outside of like Harris hawks, and those are more derived than their closest ancestors, which have been, or not closest ancestors, their closest relatives to Deinonychus, which would have been like chickens, pheasants,
Yeah. See,
ducks.
like, having a close experience with chickens, they will eat each other, no question.
Yes.
Like, they have no qualms about it.
Chickens are assholes.
See, I never knew that. I never knew chickens would go after each other.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Hen
why-
pecking. Hen pecking. Like, the pecking order is from just, like, chickens going at each other.
Oh, I just assumed that was like a, hey, know your place. I didn't realize that they were like, you look delicious.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
they'll-
peck you to death. Your place is dead and in my belly.
Well, I'm sure it's both, like, anger and hunger. Which,
Yeah,
again, is a
anger.
feeling I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, we all get hangry.
Yeah.
But they did find trackways that have like parallel motion, so these dinosaurs were traveling in a group together. So it's and some crocodilians do hunt cooperatively, like proper cooperatively, so it's kind of a hung jury right now on whether or not they were pack hunters. But
Why
they
do you
do
know
have
the size of the jury's dicks?
the
Fight,
form of
fight,
killing
fight,
that these
fight,
guys did
fight.
was described in a paper in 2011. It's called Raptor Prey Restraint. That's cool.
Kay knows when to ignore me and continue.
They basically feel that they grabbed onto the prey kind of like a hawk did, and if it was larger prey, they would use their arms, which would have wing feathers as a sort of a counterbalance.
Do you think that's why Tobias really understood these guys? Is because he felt like some
Absolutely.
common ancestry?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yes.
I know exactly how to ambush this guy. I just need to get in there with my claws, right?
Yes.
Yep. Exactly.
He knew.
That is my theory with them. They also had a bite force that might have been between 4,100 and 8,200 newtons, which is comparable to a similar-sized alligator.
So like 3 packs
And-
of Newtons, just like
Yes,
no,
3
regular
packs of fig
fig. You
Newtons.
don't want like
Yes.
the normal like flavored kinds. Those are gross.
God, those sound good right now. You know,
It's good fig Newton. I could wreck a stack of fig Newtons.
dude. Give me a sleeve of Fig
I-
Newtons and a sleeve of fucking Ritz crackers. So good.
Sounds like a weird sandwich.
They did find that younger Deinonychus had a mobile shoulder joint, which meant that younger ones had the capability for some form of flight.
Good
even
at
if it
jacking
was
off,
just
yeah.
get my ass up a tree. And they did
Well, yeah,
have
the same way
feathers.
that chickens fly, right? Like they
Yeah.
don't fly. They just kind of fall in a crazy manner.
They can flap and go a distance.
Yes.
Yeah.
These guys probably not very good distance, but these
Slow
guys
fall.
did have feathers. We haven't found preserved specimens with direct evidence, but more basal dromaeosaurids, like Microraptor, have direct evidence for pennaceous feathers, which are the wing and tail feathers that you find on modern birds. And then more derived dromaeosaurs, like Velociraptor, also have quill knobs, suggesting feathers. And so since the one geologically before and the one geologically after have feathers, Deinonychus has feathers.
Hell yeah.
They were not very fast, which is something the book gets wrong as well. There's a couple of things the book gets wrong. Like feathers.
Time travel is not real.
That too.
Book blunder number 1.
How do you know? Have you ever survived an atomic blast from a nuclear submarine? You wouldn't know. How would you know?
So
You don't know me? I might have done that.
Oh, snap.
Their leg and foot bones had the wrong placement for quick movement. They moved about 6 to 10 miles an hour.
Really?
So they're
Yeah,
ambush
they were
dudes.
not
They
fast.
don't-
They were ambush predators.
If anything, they do what Tobias did, which is kind of fall out of a tree
Yes.
and land on a dinosaur.
Spider-Bird
and
Spider-Bird.
And Deinonychus is who the Jurassic Park raptors are based on, even though size-wise they're
the
closer
clever
to Utah
girls.
Raptor. Yes. Like, size-wise, Utah Raptor's a little bit closer, because that motherfucker's huge and looks exactly like Deinonychus, but, that's Dino Facts for you.
Hell yeah.
Dino facts.
Deinonychus, motherfuckers.
Woo. I do have to say there's a line in there that I love, and it's when Tobias is telling Rachel, like, throw me up in the tree, you know, and then you go run, turn into your bear, and have a fighting chance against the Deinonychus. And I just love he's like, Rachel, don't argue, throw me.
It reminds me of that Arrested Development joke with Martin Short. It was like, throw me, dragon.
Yeah, launch me, dragon, launch me.
I pinned the army man. God bless you for being in the army. Dragon!
Right, and she misses.
Yeah,
like
she
she throws and she flicks up and it's like does this like nice
me
arc
harder.
onto the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another broken wing.
Which I like. Hey, I feel bad for Rachel. Like, you know, like there's a lot of pressure to throw your boyfriend into a tree.
After you've just thrown up from running to exhaustion.
Right? Yeah, she's going through a lot of things right now. That Rachel.
Her feet are bloody. She had to tear off part of her outfit.
I just had to throw my bird boyfriend into a tree. It's been a hard day.
I haven't had anything to eat other than a shitty coconut. And next we cut to Jake, and Jake's thought is that he has to shit.
Yep.
Probably the most relatable Jake's ever been. He wakes up and he's got to shit.
I mean, like, yeah, it's been a day for everybody, right? Because they've been out in the prehistoric times for a day. Somehow have managed not to get eaten, even though they've been chased by everything that is hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Jake wakes up. It's his time to do watch, but he's like, oh, I got to poop. He says, Marco and I will take over, but let me do it in my Jake voice.
Please do.
Marco and I will take over, but actually, first I have to take a little walk. I left the cozy glow of the fire and headed into darkness. 20 feet, and the fire already seemed like part of some different world. It was so dark. I looked back, and it was as if the fire and the comet were both floating in the same empty space. I did what I had to do, and then I saw it. So he looked at his poop?
He was shitting and looking at the comet that would wreck the planet.
He's like, this comet's got a trail like the poop coming out of my butt does.
I'm just picturing it. Like, could you imagine just taking a shit right next to, like, a full Northern Lights? Like, I'll behold the majesty of nature.
Yeah. That's why shitting in Alaska is so, like, wondrous.
I need to go to Alaska and just, like, really feel myself out in nature.
That's when the sky lights up with some weird flashes, and he sees some dinosaurs, a herd of vast creatures. They stood on 4 tree trunk legs. They had tremendously long necks and tails that were just as long. It was impossible to know their actual size, but they had to stand at least 4 or 5 times my own height, and from head to tail they had to be 40 feet. So he sees some fucking long necks. Fucking land before time, Littlefoots.
Brontosauruses. Like, even I need Brontosaurus.
Well, I'm going to... Now, Kay and Warren, you all probably know this, but maybe our listeners don't. I'm going to talk now, just a little bit, just a tiny little bit, about a young woman named Judith Barcy.
Ooh. Oh.
That bounced right off my smooth brain.
Oh.
Okay,
Well, you're about to
We
learn
talked
some
about
facts.
her 2 days or 2
Right,
weeks
so
ago.
this is my experience
That
with,
was 2
like,
weeks
dinosaurs in general is just the land before time. I grew up on these movies.
I grew up with Land Before Time. That's how I got to know Littlefoot is the long necks.
Right, there's Littlefoot, there's Ducky, there's Tree Stars, there's
Petrie, yeah.
Sarah the Triceratops, which they could have
Sarah
come
the
up with a better name
racist.
than Sarah.
Yeah.
Right?
So we're gonna talk now, not so much about dinosaur facts, but some fun, interesting movie trivia. Fun, I say.
Yeah, no, it's good movie trivia.
So we're gonna talk about Judith Barcy, and any of our listeners out.
Members.
Oh no.
So any of our
It all
listeners
came-
out there who have
it all came
seen The
rushing
Land
back.
Before Time, they know Ducky. Ducky's the cute little like baby dinosaurs. Like, yep, that one.
Yep. She is the mascot of the series, pretty much.
Pretty much. I mean, was. So
Jesus.
Ducky was played by a young little 10-year-old named Judith Eva Barcy.
Yeah.
And so before The Land Before Time, this remarkable young little actress was in like 70 commercials, in some other movies. And she, like a lot of us, had an abusive, awful father. So, Joseph Barcy, Hungarian immigrant, not that that matters, I just think it's funny because all Eastern Europeans are awful people, every single one.
All right, McCarty.
Look, I'm Irish. I'm strong stock. I got a potato for a cock, and I'm ready to go. It's like a baby little red potato, you know?
Fingerling.
I'm not talking about a russet, you know? No
It's
Yukon.
just as wide as it is long.
Yeah, exactly. I ain't got no Yukon Gold poking between these timber legs. Nope. So, we're going to talk about Judith Barcy. So, she was a talented young child actress. And the dad was an abusive, alcoholic, awful fucking monster.
So Tobias' uncle, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much Tobias' uncle.
Okay.
And Joseph was emotionally manipulative, physically abusive, just terrible. Threatened to kill them, which, as we'll find out, is not just a threat. So, this young little actress, young little Judy, as I like to call her.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fine. Call her whatever you want. Judith Barcy. She cuts all the whiskers off her cat, shaves part of her cat, and her talent agent's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So,
then
something is obviously wrong with this child.
Like if a child starts abusing an animal, you know someone either got hit or diddled. Either way, not a good outcome.
Right. Especially if it is a Hollywood actress.
Yeah. So all this stuff comes out about how abusive the father is. And he would say things to Judith's mom like, I know if you go to the fucking photo shoot, you're not coming back. Just evil, awful monster. Until one day, he fucking blasts the mom's brains out. Judith, running down the hall, gets her brain blasted out too. 10-year-old shot dead in her house.
Ducky.
Yep. Blat, blat, blat.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
Joseph then covers their bodies in gasoline.
Okay.
Sets the house on fire.
Okay.
And shoots himself in the garage.
Well, that's nice.
That's a happy ending.
Yeah,
to the story.
that's one of the better parts of the story.
So that's a little Land Before Time trivia for you.
You know, without getting too into detail, her story, when I heard it as a kid,
yeah,
I was sitting here like, oh fuck. Oh
yeah.
fuck, that was almost
like no, like there are several
dad,
bad stories from Hollywood that I just have ready to go. One of them is Ducky from Land Before Time. The other one is I watched The Twilight Zone differently now.
God.
Yeah, listeners, do yourself a favor, look that one up.
Like there and
the
also
chopper.
Get away from the chopper. It's one of those things that is just you have to have in your back pocket ready to go when somebody likes something too much. If you really want to because sometimes if you just really need to bring someone down, you just take something they really loved. Again, I loved Land Before Time as a kid. Right? And it's just like if you want to bring them down hard, you tell them that Ducky story. Did you know that she was injected with hormones?
Yeah, they injected her with hormones to grow her up. I left that out because I went dark enough, but yeah.
They opposite Gary Coleman her.
Jesus.
But Gary Coleman, by the way, is also a terrible story, but that's for later.
Oh, God, that happened here.
So,
we don't have enough time to talk about Gary Coleman.
Part where Tobias drops out of a tree and he lands.
But really though, if you look at the story of Tobias, it is a story of just exploited youth. That's what all these kids are. Is exploited youth, right?
And then we cut to Rachel. They were around me, all around me, maybe 10 of them. Deinonychus, Tobias called them, like wolves. They circled me like wolves.
I love that, like, Tobias, during this, like, the like, oh, you're surrounded by murderous chickens. They're called Deinonychuses? Like, Tobias is, like, in there correcting her, right?
And to Rachel's credit, in Bearmorph,
that would be me.
She fucking kills she one-shots a raptor.
Tyler, technically, coronavirus is a set of viruses. Okay. It's like, I don't care.
I can't help but think I've killed this podcast.
Does coronavirus go better with a squeeze of lemon?
So Rachel is fighting all the creatures. Whatever. Like, honestly, the thing about this book, just to lay it out honestly, is it's a lot of these, like, action sequences.
Yeah, they're vignettes of fun action.
Right, and that's what we get out of all of these, like, kind of back and forth Megamorph stories, and they're entertaining, right? Like, in this sequence, Tobias acquires the
Deinonychus, yeah.
Deinonychus. He turns into it.
It takes him over.
And then he has a fight for dominance over the leader. Accidentally cuts open his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Had a whoopsie doodle.
Yeah. Tobias, when I told you I wanted you to rearrange my guts, that's not what I meant.
That's what Rachel said is true in the book.
Rachel did that. She's like, no.
Catherine Applegate, why would you write
to
that?
Open me up and poke around. I didn't mean that.
Right, and but, like, it's a lot of these, like, bouncing through, like, kind of action games. Because, like, after that, we cut over to the loser crew, the coward crew, right? And
yeah, Jake's got to poop. He gets eaten by a T-Rex.
Right,
like
there's another chase sequence with the T-Rex. He gets eaten. He acquires the
a
T-Rex.
Brontosaurus falls on him, and he's like, well, fuck, at least my legs aren't broken. Cool.
Yeah.
And then gets eaten by a T-Rex.
Surprisingly calm being eaten by a T-Rex.
Well, I mean, he doesn't understand what's happening. He's very stupid.
Well, he pulls the Nate maneuver, and he's like, become small.
He does crawl away.
Go into fetal position, and, like, he gets, like, eaten. He acquires the T-Rex.
The T-Rex will never expect me to be in his mouth.
And then, like, he starts to, like, grow into the T-Rex and gets spat out, because that would feel weird, you know, if you, like, it's like if you ate a pill and then the pill started turning into a dog.
Jesus.
I have a hairball.
You would spit it out. You're like, this is gross. Get out.
Bad ibuprofen. Bad.
And, like, well, and like, throughout this process, that fucks up the T-Rex, and then they all get T-Rex DNA.
I mean,
they all get that Dione DNA.
It probably tears his esophagus, and so he can't, like, he's still inhaling air, but it's not making it to his lungs, so he's just choking to death.
It's like he ate a chip sideways. I've done it.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it is.
No, that's the ticket. That's a chip. It's a sideways chip.
You know that feeling, though.
I do. It sucks.
Yeah, it sucks real bad.
Like, you get an ice cube in there, and you're like, oh, I'm going to die. Oh, no, it's melting. I might die. But, oh, no, I'm fine.
Yeah, exactly. That's what this T-Rex is doing. So he's stunned. They all go and get some dino DNA.
Yeah.
So Axe sees a light in the distance, right? And he said, by the way, did you guys see that, like, artificial light that was over there? Like, well, no, we thought that was lightning. It's like, actually, no. It turns out it's this weird mechanical light that I can see because I can see infrared. And everyone kind of looks at Axe. Is like, hey, dude, you should tell us that shit. What are you doing? We can't see infrared light. You know this. You've been human.
I love that when Axe was just, like, trying to explain to them, yeah, it was, you know, it had different, like, frequency. I can't remember the specifics of it exactly, but he's talking about, all these different factors that, you know, with him, with his special andalite eyes, could tell that this was definitely a man-made light and not at all natural. And they're like, yeah, okay, we get it, Axe.
Look with your special eyes.
And he's like, all right, cool. Yeah, I know, weird light that way. We should check it out.
Yeah, and so they do. They come upon, like, a Grand Canyon, and they see at the bottom of the canyon a beautiful little city and some flying saucers.
Right. They're like, this is not what is going on. There was not aliens. There are no ancient aliens, as it turns out. Except in this case, there are ancient aliens.
They're like, oh, cool city.
Yeah, right? Like, what would you say?
I'd probably say, well, yeah, that's about right, huh, guys?
Yeah. Talk about this Hellier, huh? This about fits.
Yeah, freaking 2020. Am I right? What are the writers gonna think of next? Oh.
The writers of Earth can go fuck themselves. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Fuck Jesus Christ and the apostles.
And his writer. You think like Paul is just like the person like, oh yeah, I'm writing the future as well.
Hey Jesus, what do you think of killer hornets?
Dude, I don't care.
got
I'm
the
fucking
golden
like getting
plates.
laid and drinking my blood.
Hey Jesus, what do you think about Orange Man-Child, who people that believe in you say is sent by you?
This motherfucker put a Cheeto in the White House.
Dude, Paul, what is wrong with you? Oh shit, there's a whole bunch of lead in this wine. He's writing the future? God damn it.
I'm wasted on Jesus' blood.
All right, fine, whatever. I'm
tell
just going to
ya?
go to heaven now later.
I'm tired of fucking a prostitute. I'm out. Tobias and Rachel are getting chased by two Spinosauruses. Spinosauri?
Yeah, they were hungry, I guess, and they just wanted a snack. So like, hey, let's eat this Spinosaurus. This thing that was made of spikes.
Oh, you guys. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we get into that, because it's on the same chapter, but after Rachel and Tobias fended off all the Deinonychuses and everything, and Tobias, like, cut Rachel with it,
Right.
I just fucking loved when Rachel, in the beginning of this chapter, kept talking about how you sliced me. You sliced me like a hunk of cheese. You sliced me like a piece of pizza. You sliced me like a piece of bread. Like, and you're hungry, huh? You slice me like just like a cheesecake. Like she just keeps going
and that
on
really
with Tobias.
highlights Rachel's casual relationship to murderous pain. Right? It's just like, you fucking got me real good, huh, you bastard? Ha. It's like, wait, no. You experienced death again. You should be like, you know, like you should.
Like
it
I
should
was
be a
bacon
silent
and eggs
lock. You
and
know,
some
it's
hash
like,
browns. I'd give up shopping for Denny's Grand Slam breakfast right now. One pancakes. Get the hash browns on the side. Order 2 sausage links, 2 slices of bacon, 2 eggs over medium, you know. Not too soft and runny. I don't like them soft and runny. Maybe maple syrup on those pancakes. Who puts boysenberry on their pancakes?
So Rachel's hangry. And I think out of all the Animorphs, Rachel would eat herself.
I mean,
just throwing that out. Like if she was really kind of like down and out, needs food, she would just like be a bear and just like rip off some bear and then turn human
Like,
and then eat the bear.
I mean, look at how Tobias describes her. She turned her icy blue eyes toward me. Like a loaf of bread. That's how you sliced me up. Like a loaf of bread you get fresh from the bakery, all crusty and crispy and golden on the outside, and soft and white and still warm inside. And raspberry preserves. Has to be raspberry. I like Smuckers. A big jar of raspberry preserves with seeds. I mean, what kind of baby has seedless preserves?
Listen, I was just in the dinosaur morph and like, you know how it is. And sometimes I just kind of like, you know, get really, you know, like I really liked my claw and it was just like a thing. And I'm sorry.
God damn. I should have read that like Joe Biden. Like a loaf of bread. That's how you slice me up. Like a loaf of bread you get fresh from the bakery, all crusty and crispy and golden on the outside, and soft and white and still warm inside, and raspberry preserves. Has to be raspberry. I like Smuckers.
Now let me be clear. I think that you know, it was an accident. I think that what I did to you, I apologize for. I think it wasn't right. And yes, we tortured you. But and let me be clear. I'm very sorry. And I still love you, Rachel. My sweet baby girl.
That's not a bad Obama.
They're best friends, obviously.
This is so... I cannot stop reading Animorphs as Joe Biden. I looked at her with my hawk's eyes. I was inches away.
Oh, God.
It's like looking at her through a microscope, practically. She hadn't slept, hadn't brushed her hair. And she was in a bad mood. But she looked great.
And then I sniffed her.
So they run into the fucking ant monster.
The nest. No, with
Right,
the
so
nest.
like that's what happens, right?
Yes.
They run into an ant monster. They get held up by this swarm of ants holding a gun.
And they get described like this. And that's when I noticed the other creature step smoothly out from the bushes. It walked on 2 legs. It was rough textured, like it had really chapped skin. It was reddish in color. It had two big eyes and a small mouth, all the same reddish rust hue. It stood there about 8 feet tall. It was carrying a weapon. And they describe it, the creature gazed curiously at us with what seemed to be eyes, although they were mere indentation in its face. From its head, a pair of antennae, flexible as whips, grew and began waving towards us. Satisfied after a few seconds of this, the antennae were retracted. You may not kill those creatures. There are very few left. They are ours. All creatures are ours. All things are ours. What are you? It asks in a rough, raspy, buzzing voice. Speaking English.
So, these are the Nesk, right?
Yeah.
Like they're a hive mind of ant-like creatures who, I guess, just like take shit.
Yeah, they've been watching and learning.
Yeah, they were nice enough to learn English, but like also like mean enough to just say like, give us your shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when I think about organisms like that, like science fiction creatures that are a bunch of tiny little pieces that come together in a larger form, like you think about that, like how do they link? Is it just a bunch of mandibles grabbing butt cheeks? Like what?
Well, imagine they're just farting in each other's faces like normal ants, where it's just like chemical sprays.
It's 69 all the way down. Like
have you ever seen? I think it might be army ants that do the bridges across the water.
But they're
and
like
shit.
linking each other.
Yeah,
they're not like forming bipedal humanoids and.
So
like,
you're proposing like a
blasters.
human centipede, but like in this case an ant centipede, which is really just a centipede.
But
which I buy. By the way, I like that.
Yeah.
Like it's just this long chain of just like a tube of ant. It's a tube of ants. So I'm not gonna try it. But like, so
you're gonna make me do the Biden?
No, it's fine. We've done enough Biden.
Have we?
I'm biding my time.
God damn.
So. But like, yeah, honestly, I do like the idea of the Nesk. Like, I like the idea of just like this hive mind alien because I think it's kind of cool.
So, reading this, I was like, it brought me back to a limited run of Spider-Man I read. Now, y'all know Garth Ennis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Any of y'all read his comics?
No.
So, Garth Ennis comics. For those who don't know, Garth Ennis, he wrote The Boys, which is that popular show. He wrote Preacher. He wrote a bunch of awful shit. And one thing that sticks in my head is this like 3-issue arc he did on Spider-Man. It was called Spider-Man the 1000, where there was this bully who would bully Peter Parker, and he witnessed Peter Parker get bit by the radioactive spider. So he went up to it, and he made it bite him. And instead of getting the power of Spider-Man, his like body evaporates into 1,000 spiders, and his whole thing is he kills people and then inhabits their skin. Like 1,000 spiders crawl into their body.
No.
And
that is fucking horrific.
And it's an awful, awful story. And when this kid figures out that this is what he does, he accidentally kills his mother, takes her skin, pretends to be his mother, fucks his father, and then kills his father and takes his skin. And then he tries to kill Spider-Man as 1,000 spiders, and Spider-Man's like, I'm just going to fucking smash you.
What the fuck?
I highly recommend it. Spider-Man the 1000, and that's what I keep. That's what I keep thinking with the Nesk. It's like this pile of sentient, awful little monsters.
They don't even know what they're doing. Almost.
It's still better than Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
All the weirdos in the world here right now in New York City.
Okay. Does that
no.
exist? Like, you are a musical theater podcast. Can I get a copy
We have
of it?
seen it.
What?
It is on YouTube.
The version we watched was
Yes.
bootlegged as all fuck, like videotaped on
I don't care. I want to know.
Amazing.
That was his birthday present.
Yeah, it was my birthday present because Spider-Man's my favorite superhero, and Kay was like, "Hey, happy birthday! We're reviewing one of the worst musicals of all time."
God,
It's the
I love
reason
it.
We're explicit.
Oh man, as a big Notorious Cats fan, I need to see Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
It's so bad.
I guess maybe hound YouTube and see if somebody who has it keeps posting it.
It's still on there.
Okay, I'm on a quest. I will find it.
We are gonna watch the fuck out of that.
So
what's funny is when you're watching it and you can tell that the camera dips because like an usher was walking by and so whoever was bootlegging it is hiding.
Damn.
Which now that's the only place it's preserved unless you go to Pally Center.
But,
so.
the only thing I've seen from Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, and I swear I will move on to Animorphs in a second, is that like what was it, David Letterman spot or Conan O'Brien spot where they introduced all the characters, and I was just like
Doc Ock, yeah,
but like it was just like a nightmare.
Next guy love the animals. Sometimes a little too much. Craven the Hunter.
And you could see the look on David Letterman's face is just like, what the fuck is this show?
You should look up the Spider-Man
It's like,
accident.
what are you doing, Bono? Why are you here?
Yeah, Bono and the Edge can both go fuck their own faces.
You know who else can fuck their own faces is the Nesk.
Absolutely.
You know, and they could
the
because
Nesk.
they are
Millions of
They
ants.
are an
Millions of
orgy
ants.
unto themselves.
Yeah.
Right. So, I love Rachel and Tobias' strategy here. Rachel goes up and says, "Now you're not
fuck your ants."
smash." Right? Like, you know, like she doesn't
Cut
like
them
try
in
to
half,
talk.
yeah.
At first, like I didn't know if these were good or bad guys. I was just like, "Oh, new species, cool." And she was just like, just stomping around. I'm
Yeah.
gonna crush you.
She's like, I smell ants. You're fucking dead.
And I'm like, just talk to them for a second. Like, what? You don't know if they're bad or not.
Well, I mean, the Nesk are like, don't move. This gun will kill you.
Yeah, I'd be like,
Yeah,
what do you want? Are
they're
you
holding
scared
him
of
at
us?
gunpoint. They're holding him at gunpoint. They're like, you know, go back to your normal form. We know that the form you're in is not what you are.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And they're like, they don't know what to do. They're like, oh, this alien creature's holding us at gunpoint. And I love when the Nesk is like, this device can make things fall asleep. It can also make them die. I will use it to make you die.
Yeah. Which, by the way, is also very like Lenny from Mice and Men, which is like, I make you fall asleep for good.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, you have a good point. I would kind of say like, yeah, these guys, I don't trust them not to kill me.
And
I love how Rachel, like, her mentality is like, oh, I'll just knock him over, and then we'll run away.
Yeah, and she like knocks him in half. And I'm like, oh,
She
shit.
cuts him in half, and she's just like, oh my god, I didn't mean to do that, you know?
like-
I only intended to knock him down, but then my horror changed tone. The severed lower body seemed to dissolve, breaking into thousands and tens of thousands of tiny squirming pieces.
Yeah, and then like what they run into like her mouth and start biting it.
Yeah.
Which is not a great strategy because she just like steps on them and eats them.
yeah.
Just nightmare fuel.
Well, because they're ants. Like you really can
Yeah,
just
she's
like kind of
like, no pity. I lunged, mouth wide open. I bit down on the raised because they were forming to grab the gun to shoot
they
him.
wanted
So
to,
she goes to bite the hand, and that's when they're in her mouth, biting and stinging and burning, and she's just like, "Oh my god, what is this hell?"
right because her mouth is full of ants.
And, yeah.
A type
My
of hell.
God, it's full of ants.
The bees. The bees are in my eyes.
Oh, not the
Yeah.
bees.
Yeah, and then it basically, like, they're in the middle of the fight, and they're just like, the Nesk was made up of millions and millions of ants, and then it's like, chapter end. Move on to Cassie.
Yeah, cut to Cassie.
Hey, everybody, let's fly and look at this cool city as birds.
Well, they're not in the city yet.
No, they're above it, but they want to fly and look at it.
Yeah, they want to check it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is not the stupidest idea in the world.
Well, it ends poorly for them because they get immediately attacked by
what, pterodactyls?
They don't call them pterodactyls
Pteranodons.
though.
Pteranodons.
Well,
yeah.
what I love though is they come to this alien settlement, and Jake's experience with aliens is so limited that he just looks at Axe and he's like, "Are they Andalites?" And Axe is like,
it reminds me.
"No, they're not Andalites. Not all aliens are Andalites, Jake."
It reminds me of people asking me shit at work or at school, like, "Oh, hey, do you know this black person?" No, I don't. We don't all know each other.
Look.
That joke only worked in Blackish.
Look, Jake. All Andalites are aliens, but not all aliens are Andalites, okay?
Yes.
But what about this one? Listen, Jake. I know you don't get it, but you need to get it for a second, and then we can move on.
Oh, the Makora have lots of legs. Andalites have lots of legs. You
no,
same?
No, Jake. Jake, listen. I know you don't like to listen. You gotta listen.
Can I have more dinosaur, please?
Yeah, here's some dinosaur. Here you go.
Swordfish.
Yeah, here's your swordfish.
Jake, you're so... God bless him. God bless us, everyone.
Oh God.
He doesn't see alien races. He only sees the one, which is Andalite.
But then, like that whole thing of like they're debating about what to do with this alien city, and they're like, well, we should check it out at the very least, you know.
Honestly, not a bad plan. Like, I get it.
Not a bad plan.
Like,
I get it. Like
they occasionally have the good idea that just goes wrong, and this is one of them. Where it's just like,
this is one of
let's
them.
fly over and just see what's going on. And of course, because it's the time of the dinos, they get immediately attacked by a dinosaur.
The DM decided to do a DM intrusion, and they're like, okay, roll initiative. You get attacked by a pterosaur.
Yeah, I'm like, no, dude, I want to have my own adventure. Sorry, too bad. In comes the pterodactyls.
And while the pterodactyls are coming, Tobias and Rachel are running, and they're like, you know what? Let's jump off a cliff.
Right.
Yeah, I think I think their mentality was like, we'll have enough on the time on the way down that we can morph and not end up a splat on the pavement.
Again, I love this team up of Tobias and Rachel because it's like a Fast and the Furious movie. It's just like, let's just run off this cliff. Okay, what next? Well, it will work out. And it does every time. It works out every time.
Now, think later.
Right? Because what happens is that they run into the other team that are fighting off these pterodactyls. Tobias jumps off of a pterodactyl and hits Rachel into the cliff.
Yeah, they jump off, and Tobias is like, as I'm falling to my death, I see a peregrine falcon. Those things used to give me shit when I was a hawk, and now it's the last thing I'm seeing. Life is funny sometimes, isn't it, folks?
God, it's
because Rachel and Tobias kick the shit out of the one nest, and then that's when we get the first appearance of the pyramid.
The pyramid
ship
comes to
save the nest, and it's blasting them. They're like, oh fuck, and they're running away, and the pyramid ship vacuums up the remaining nest.
Again, by the way, pyramid ship is a great design for a ship. It's a flying pyramid. Please, I want to see that movie.
Yeah, and then it's just chasing them. That's what made them run and jump off into the canyon. Is they're like, well, we're being chased by a ship firing energy blasts. Like, where else are we gonna go?
Yeah. Right.
YOLO.
You know what? Fuck pyramid ships. Let's kill ourselves.
But here's the thing. I get that emotion of I know the last thing I'm gonna see is somebody who's too slow in a grocery line or something. It's gonna be like,
oh my God.
It's like I'm dying in a hospital bed, and the last person I see is somebody scratching off the scratcher ticket in on my chest. It's like, oh, this shit sucks. And then I'll die.
I was thinking of that Coen Brothers movie, where it's all the short films, and it's like James Franco about to be hanged. And he's like, first time, huh?
Yep. It's always gonna be just the thing I annoys me the most is going to be the last thing I see before I die.
Yep.
So, peregrine falcon, Jake. Right.
And then they land on the force field.
Yeah,
everything's okay.
Yeah, they kind of land on thin air. It's like, hey, this is convenient. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
This
This
is a
works
convenient
out.
pop device.
Yeah. They get sucked into the city.
The raptor hugs the osprey. It's very cute.
Oh, I love that moment. Honestly,
I love that. Yeah,
It was
I
so
love that
cute.
moment.
because Cassie
They're
this
talking
entire
about-
time was the only one that gave a shit about the friends being dead. And she was like, my friend is not dead. I'm gonna hug this goddamn dinosaur as a bird. I don't care.
I just love that where they say the osprey trying to hug this Deinonychus. I just love the image.
It's absolutely cute. It's like,
No,
God.
I would try to do the same time. If you were in some terrible accident and I was a bird, I'd be like, oh, my friend is not dead. I'm gonna hug him. It's just this pigeon is on my leg.
God, if I could draw, I would draw a raptor hugging an osprey.
Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I don't know.
It's a good image. I love it.
They're so cute.
So, but they get sucked into the city and they finally meet these wonderful crab people.
Yeah, the Mercora. They stood about half the height of a tall human and 7 or 8 feet wide. On the side, with 4 big legs, there was a sort of 3-way pincer claw. It looked very powerful. It looked like the sort of thing I would not want to have to fight against. On the other side, the weak side, There were 2 arms similar to my own, but even stronger than human arms. The arms ended in long, tapered, delicate fingers. There were a lot of eyes. They kept opening and shutting, 1 or 2 or 3 at a time. They were each hidden beneath tiny trapdoors in the Mercoris exoskeleton or shell. Eyes were forever appearing and disappearing. It was very distracting. I was trying so hard not to be Biden.
I'm proud of you.
I would like to read this little bit just because I have it highlighted.
Oh, please do.
So it's We are the Makora, one of them said in thought speak. We are immigrants to this planet. We thought we had encountered most of the many species on this planet, but we have never encountered an intelligent species here before.
They think we're intelligent, Rachel.
Rachel whispered. Samarco kept Samarco, keep quiet. We don't want them to learn the truth.
Like, they're so used to this experience now. They're cracking jokes. Like, they're getting chewed up by the teacher.
Like, seriously.
It's like, shut up, come on.
They think we're slow, eh?
Like, the Mercora, they sound really, really interesting, but you have that, at least I do, I have that image where I'm like, okay, evolution, how the fuck do you develop an asymmetrical species? Like,
well, it's kind of like, if you look at a crab, like, yeah, like, why do they have that one big claw? What's up?
I mean, well, it's like they have a bigger claw, yeah, but like the way they describe them is they have like one big claw arm, and then they have these multiple other hands, but their legs are asymmetrical, so it's just like, it's almost like if God is real, he just was on a fucking bender, went to the corner of this galaxy and was just like, I don't know, make a wonky crab.
Remember what we learned, though, from PBS Eons? What? Everything returns to crab. Everything
returns
to crab.
That's right.
But I kind of like the Marcola. Like, it's just like, what's the most alien thing except for an asymmetric, like, leaning crab people that farm broccoli?
A peaceful vegetarian race of crabs.
Right, and I like your reading of that because it sounded like scared vegetarian, which is really just kind of what these crabs are. They're just like scared vegetarians that like don't want to kill these like ant people, but like are gonna.
Well, they also can't because they talk about like they don't really have a lot of weapons. A lot of their technology seems to be for force fields, and stuff like that. And but it's like they
have the one ship with the turret on it.
They're at this stalemate because it's like they can't fight the Nesk, and the Nesk can't penetrate their defenses.
Yeah.
So they're just kind of, we're in this canyon, but we can't leave this canyon because the Nesk will fucking kill us.
Only if we had a young group of teenage dinosaurs to infiltrate.
A group of teenagers with attitude.
A group of suicide troopers who would march into the Nesk encampment and lay waste.
And by the way, they have the thing that you need to go back in time. So maybe, get on that.
Do you like broccoli and bombs? Because we want you to have broccoli and get a bomb.
And that's how that conversation goes. Marco's just like, maybe we can just live here, but he was also like, I hate broccoli.
Well, Marco is also like, can we eat one of them? Like, do we have any melted butter?
Like, he's looking at these like crabs. He's like, you need to get some butter. What's this butter? Let me show you.
I do love Tobias.
Can we also talk about the fact that they're saying that broccoli is a 65 million year old alien plant?
No, like it's from cabbage. It's just like a form of cabbage.
It's just brassica.
It's like I'm just like K.A. Applegate. No.
Well, it's a kid's joke. It's a kid's joke, right? Because like if kids hate broccoli, it's just like, oh yeah, I get it. Like my teacher's an alien, that kind of a thing. It's just like the thing I hate.
Yeah.
Turns out this justification is from space.
It's one of those things that just makes my brain spasm because it's like you could say it was similar to broccoli. It had a texture like broccoli. It looked very much like broccoli. But to be like, yes, aliens brought broccoli to Earth in this canyon.
Well, Elfingor made like Macintosh, so it's like at this point, who cares? It's fine. He just like
touche, Nate.
Yeah,
touche.
I will say though, I love Tobias when they meet the Mercora, and he's like the Mercora are asking, what planet in the future are you from, you humans and Andalites? And Cassie started to answer, actually, we're from Earth, which is our name for. Suddenly she fell silent and looked
shut
shocked.
the fuck up.
Tobias was staring intently at her, and then he spoke to me in the personal, private thought speak whisper he had used to silence Cassie, a whisper the Mercora could not hear. No one tell them we're from this planet, Tobias said. Hear me? No one tell them this is our planet.
Right,
And
and so
I love
he
that.
knows what he's gonna
fucking
do to
love
these
that.
crab people. He knows what he's gonna
Yes! A bird's gonna fuck everything up.
do. A bird's gonna
too is
like genocide crab people, and he's like, "Listen, just shut the fuck up. It's hard enough."
Yeah.
Like at the same time, it's like 65 million years. Who know? Like if they had stayed on the planet the whole time, they could have fucking gone sterile for all we know. Like,
Well,
like they
like,
would have
let's-
evolved differently or something.
Let's get there, right? So what happens is
Sorry,
that
yeah,
they
sorry.
need to go to the nest
Yeah,
to steal a nuclear bomb to cause a serial rip so they can go back in time.
Yeah.
Or go forward in time in this case. And so they kind of do that. It's an action sequence where they sneak up as dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And there's like, the nests and what is it, Axe?
Yeah,
Axe sets off the thought speak alarm because they have one of those.
Yeah, and they steal their nuke. They run away. Like there's some cool knocking spaceships over, destroying spaceships as dinosaurs.
I love that like Tobias and Rachel are upset because they don't have the cool T-Rex.
Yeah, Rachel's got such big T-Rex dick envy.
I know. I would be upset too, honestly. But so they find the nuke and they skedoodle.
Hold on.
Okay.
Cassie gets taken over by the T-Rex mind.
Yeah,
I shouldn't skip over that. You're right.
That scene.
So like when
that was
when
a
they're
heavy
morphing
scene.
into T-Rex to go to the nest, which is hard to say, Cassie goes full carnivore.
She does.
Which that says a lot to me. Like when she goes into a morph, like I think she does feel the animal more than the others, right? That's why she's so good at it. But at the same time, like that means she feels more of the base instincts at the same time, right? So when she's a dolphin, like I think she just kind of grooves with it because it's a fun-loving dolphin. So she grooves with the like murder lizard.
She does groove with the murder lizard.
Right? And like and she just like completely loses it. Which I kind of hope it's addressed later because that's an interesting like plot twist.
I just assumed that the dinosaur brains were such killer predators and so strong that it was probably the strongest subconscious they ever had to wrestle down. But I'm doing doing heavy lifting for the writers.
It's
It's
like
fine.
it's the weak point in Cassie where it's like she's not prepared to deal with Predator. Maybe. What do you guys think?
Huh.
Do you mind if I go first, and then you can
Yeah,
tell
you
me
can
how
go
I'm wrong?
first.
So, I don't know. It's just I think about it like the basal reptilian brain. Even though dinosaurs are not reptiles, it's just I don't know. Cassie is such an emotional person. Like I do identify with Cassie in that respect because I'm a Cancer and I'm a pretty emotional, squishy person. So like I get that with Cassie.
Also a crab.
And
so I mean I feel like we'd really
Yes,
more of a
also a
Makola
crab.
kind of.
How have we not made a crab pinching a penis joke yet?
Hey,
You just
I
did.
like symmetry, okay? The Mercoa pissed me off with her asymmetrical bullshit. But Cassie, I feel bad for because she's such a, I don't mean to say tree hugger in like a condescending way, but she's so peaceful in a lot of ways that she is horrified by the fact that she was overtaken by this bestial primal need to kill and feed. And there's a really great bit in there, if you guys don't mind me reading this, it's like after she comes out of like she because she's the T-Rex, she loses herself, she kills this Triceratops, and then when they're finally able to rein her in, she is horrified at her own actions, and the others kind of try to tell her to deal with it kind of thing, and Cassie, get over it. This is the late Cretaceous, according to Bird Boy here, Marco said coldly. There are no humans, no human civilization, no human morality or religion or philosophy. This is hardcore nature. We're down to survival here. Survival, that's all that counts. Surviving and getting home, Rachel amended. These are humans here, Cassie said. Us. We are human civilization. We have all the stuff inside of us. It doesn't matter what year it is. Okay, you're right, Marco snapped. It doesn't matter if this were 1998, or 2000, or 2121. It would still come down to surviving. And when it's down to kill or be killed, all the morality is guilt. All of that is crap. And Cassie very much has just such a good bit about there where she's talking about Yeah, well, Cassie's just saying that it's up to us because we are higher thinking creatures. It is our duty to be better than the basal instincts. And I do like that there's a bit in there where Axe is like, Jake, I see why you like that girl.
Right. And Cassie makes, like, the perfect anti-pro-war statement I think that anyone can make is that
anti-pro-war?
Yeah, like, all the people are like, well, we had to do this. We had to get this war done. We had to get this mission done because it was us or them. And it's like, it's never us or them. Saying that's us or them is removing the fucking frontal lobe forebrain that we have. It's removing the nuance that is humanity, the ability to see what makes our, quote, enemy different than us, which is often not very much. And that is a pretty powerful statement coming in a book about time travel and dinosaurs, saying, no, we owe it to ourselves to recognize our own humanity in a world without humanity. Like, that is fucking heavy shit and really good shit for a kid to read.
And, like, reading that, like, it really reminds me that I want better Cassie stories. Because, like, I think Cassie has the strongest morality out of the bunch, or at least the best defined morality of the bunch. Because, like, she is not easily swayed by something, and when she does something that is against her moral code, she's disgusted by it, right? Whereas everyone else just kind of rolls with it. Like, everyone kind of accidentally does something that they're horrified by, but then they just move on with their lives. Cassie does not.
No, and
she
it's
holds
easy
herself to a higher standard.
Yeah, and it's easy as humans to give ourselves some kind of reason to move on from whatever horrific thing we've done, whether it's, a war crime or cheating on someone or some awful thing we do to a stranger. We look at ways to rationalize to ourselves, like, oh, we're in a time without morality. What we do doesn't matter. It's like, no, what we do always matters.
Yeah.
Every little thing matters.
And this links to what happens next in the story. So after they do the raid, they call the Makora for help because they're kind of in a tight situation.
Yeah. They call the Makora. The Makora show up. They get in a standoff. The Nests do the bravest thing they can possibly do and retreat and leave the planet forever.
Yeah, the Makora like save the day, right? They pick up the Animorphs.
Yeah, they show up. They take them away.
And like what happens next, I thought was kind of interesting, which is the Makora immediately turn around and rip off their arms.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck, what are you doing?
Yeah, some Makora get killed.
Yeah.
In their ship, and they say,
this is our penance. This is what we have to do in order to make this right, is to cause damage to ourselves in order to show, like, respect, I suppose, to what we did.
The Makora talk about they have only 2 ships, and they send both those ships to help the Animorphs, and one of them gets blown up by, one of the pyramid ships, but they mutual destruction. They both blow each other up.
Right, they both blow each other up.
Yeah,
and then it's like just one last saucer ship, and the Nesk see the Animorphs demorph, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh no, the Makora have allies, like we're outnumbered, and that's what makes them fucking yeet out of there, and then the Makora, tractor beam up the Animorphs, and that's when you see that they've cut off their arms and they've wrapped them ceremoniously and tucked them in the corner, and it's like this.
It's self-flagellation of just like, we have done a violence, therefore we must do violence upon ourselves. And it's like a thing. It's emotion that Cassie gets too, right? She kind of understands it completely. Of just like, no, I understand that you can't act violence upon somebody without hurting yourselves.
Yeah,
I would do the same thing, but like if I tore off my arm, that would be bad.
Right.
And they talk about that part of it is in remembering their dead, but also is in honoring those that they've killed, because they said that I know they say that killing is a sin. Dying is
so they did this for the Makora who were in the other ship, Jake asked. For those who were in both ships, the pilot said, to be killed is sadness, to kill is a sin.
Yeah, to be killed is sadness, to kill is a sin. And so it's just, but it's cool for them that they regenerate limbs, and then Cassie's like, yeah, we can't do that. If we cut off our arm, it's gone for good. And they're like,
then you must bear the pain inside.
Yeah, but like
scream in your heart. Yeah.
But Cassie gets it though, right? Like she's just like, you know, like I feel the same way when I kill someone. None of the other Animorphs really kind of get it in the same way that Cassie gets
right.
it. So they return back home and in like the Marcola city, and they're like, "Whew, what adventure! All right, time to blow up this thing and go home." As it turns out, the Nesk kind of left an upper decker when it comes to planet Earth. Right, because
they
like
poison the wells, that the Romans would say.
Yeah, and then because the comet that's been looming over the planet for this entire adventure that nobody has commented on except for Tobias, who's like, I wonder. You know, I remember something about a comet in prehistoric times.
Yeah, the Tobias chapter, he says, I took flight around the Mercora city because someone had to take this in. Someone had to acknowledge us. Someone had to see what happened here before what's about to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's his way of honoring what's soon to be dead, but he's the only one who thinks, yeah, we're about to get smashed.
Right, because he knows that the comet has been diverted to hit Earth. Because obviously, there are no dinosaurs in the year 2000.
Well, they make mention that they do see it get diverted because, you know, the nest, like, they see some flashes, and then they see the comet actually just go, and, like, move a bit.
Yeah, and they leave some, like, fireworks that's just a middle finger.
Yeah, exactly. Just seriously. It's like, get fucked, scrubs, you know?
Yeah.
And, and just when the Mercora were like, the Nesk could not bear their defeat, like, they have redirected the comet. It is coming right for us. What do we do? Save the broccoli.
Yeah.
And I fucking love that the Mercora were so polite and nice that Axe is like, yeah, they're afraid to ask for the bomb.
It's like they don't want to impose, but they need the bomb to save their civilization.
Mercora are just Canadians. Like,
oh, guys.
No, it's fine. Sorry. Just if you've got any... If you got any extra bombs,
I don't want to trouble you any. It's just, you know, like if you have any, like
it's okay if you say no.
No, it's totally.
Oh, I'm going Irish.
Like
it's okay if you say no.
Oh, it's so bad. Can we have your nuke there then?
We just spoiled the bar a little bit. It's fine.
We come from the planet Ottawa.
Where is this accent from? Everywhere.
Yeah.
It's fine. They're very polite vegetarians, and they're just like. Can we listen, please? And the gang talk it over.
Yeah. They vote to give the nuke to the Mercora.
It was a split decision, right?
No, it was like...
It was 4-2.
Yeah, it was 4-2.
Well, okay.
The dissenting votes... The dissenting votes were Marco and Rachel, who said, no, we need the bomb to go home.
They were like, fuck these crab people.
Yeah. Which I feel is a very Marco and Rachel decision.
It's like, I brought all this fucking butter. We better get to eat some. God damn it. So Cassie and Jake vote to give the bomb, and then Tobias and Axe are very quiet with their...
It's like, yes, give them the bomb.
Yeah, please give them the bomb. And Tobias makes a comment where he tells Axe what to do, but Axe doesn't acknowledge it. And so this all leads to... the Mercora flying up to try and blow up the meteor with a dud bomb.
Yeah.
All Armageddon style, which just made me laugh because it's like, was it Armageddon as NASA trains their scientists to be like, point out all the things wrong with the concept of landing on this celestial body, putting a nuke in there and blowing the rock apart.
Picturing Steve Buscemi as a crab.
God, I love the movie. Like, Armageddon is a good movie. Steve Buscemi riding a giant Gatling gun laughing is a good image.
Was that Steve Buscemi?
Yeah, that was Steve Buscemi.
I was doing that guy from that movie, you know, Slim Pickens, where he rides it all the way in, the nuclear warhead. No. I didn't see that one, huh?
I need to watch Armageddon again.
It's not a good movie.
I don't want to miss a thing.
It's a dud. Earth is doomed. Sorry, guess what? Aerosmith's daughter, you're dead.
Batman, you can fuck my daughter. Thanks, Die Hard. So, Tobias says, look, I told Axe to defuse the bomb.
Yeah.
That meteor needs to hit this planet. It's the only way this planet survives.
And everyone is like, what the fuck?
Oh, seriously. Everybody was like, I felt like this is a great example of how they're a bunch of kids, you know?
Well, how they're a
like
bunch of kids except for Tobias. Tobias is the
not.
only adult.
Like,
And he's like,
he's the only
no,
one
these
who's
people
like,
need
no,
to die.
this
We don't have crab people in the present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, you don't know that it's this comet? And he's like, yes, I do, he said. No one in our time has ever found a Mercora fossil, which means they never prospered, never populated the planet, never grew beyond this one handful, this one settlement. This is the comet. This is the time. Today is the end of the Mercoa. And today
Kay,
is
would
the end
you
of the
shut up?
dinosaurs. Holy shit. Our dog is not having a good time. I'm going to let her out of the room.
I was cool with it. I was just gonna let it go. The dog. The whales are singing again.
Gratitude.
Gratitude.
So Tyler, I know you've been listening to some of our show.
Uh-huh.
Have you heard it? Have you heard any of the episodes where Latte interjects and goes?
Oh yes, and I'm glad that Latte made a cameo.
Our mostly silent third co-host.
I mean, like, what I would say is that's the sound that the Macrola made when they realized they're about to die.
Seriously. We've been had.
What's great is that they're also like, they look at each other. They're like, we need to get out of here. They're going to know that we fucked them.
Yeah. The Animorphs run away.
They're going to know we did them dirty.
It's like a bunch of scared teenagers like, oh, fuck. I can't run.
Guys, I took all my dad's beer. We got to go.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. They run to the ocean.
They fly and they fly and they swim and they fly and they swim.
At the very end, Cassie pokes her head up. It's like, I want to see the end of the planet. Here we go. But she doesn't see the end of the planet. Instead, she sees time travel.
Yeah, the Sario Rip.
She sees that Sario Rip.
Sario Rip.
Sario Rip.
Sario Rip.
We don't actually smoke a lot of weed. It's just a funny joke.
Oh, I'm Sario. Who wants to go back to 1998?
Oh, here comes civilization. Hey, oh, here comes some huts.
Oh, calzones on the ride home. How we doing, everybody?
Oh, we got the Middle Ages over here. Oh, look at the Pope.
Oh, look, that's a sad T-Rex there. He's dying over here.
Yeah, we're going through time here. Don't you see we're about to see the development of the marinara? You're about to see the...
Grandma's gravy. You're gonna get the secret recipe. It's
you got
great.
Oh, they made a big ziti over here.
Oh God. Oh God.
So they travel back in time. They get a little bit of that Italian flavor, which is thyme. I don't know. Okay.
Italian
garlic.
Thyme.
I think so. Whatever's in the Italian mix that you buy at Costco, they get some of that.
Oh, damn, Grandma. Is that Kirkland? That's good.
Grandma's been cutting corners ever since the Sario Rip.
And then, bam, present day.
Present time, story wrapped up. Now, everything goes fine. Everything was normal. Everything's back to normal.
They all did that happen? Yeah. I don't know. My memory's kind of fuzzy. Will it be mentioned in the main series? Probably not.
Now, do you think Tobias was right to do what he did?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, see, it's one of those things that you get into the time paradox of could it have gone any other way?
Yeah.
Because maybe everything happened because they were there to cause it.
Yeah,
you know,
like
getting that whole
but it's
issue.
not a Back to the Future time travel thing. Like they're not going.
Yeah, there's no Leah Thompson. God, she was hot.
Yeah. There's that. There's no Leah Thompson. They don't go invisible if they're doing the wrong thing, right? Like it's not like
there's
they
no
have.
point where Jake's looking at himself, going, "My brain feels more wrinkly. I'm fading.
I'm shaking." Oh. I'm not gonna.
Fuck.
I'm not gonna. He's a saint. The man is a saint.
That was a Parkinson's joke.
Man is a saint.
I got
He was great in Spin City.
Makes a killer martini.
But like, so like, it's not those rules. It's not the Back to the Future rules. So like, it's just whatever. It's the time machine rules where you're predestined to do what you do.
Yeah.
I think.
And this is like we posit a lot that Tobias is the secret leader of this group.
Yeah.
And he made this decision.
Well, he has the most experience with being a time person.
He also doesn't have a smooth brain.
No, he doesn't. He has a wise bird brain.
He has got K levels of wrinkles in his brain.
It's all of the dense neurons packed into that nidopallium That's
It
the bird
is a
version
clenched
of
fist
the...
in his head that
Yeah.
is just ready to punch you
Yeah.
with his knowledge.
It is.
It's just all muscle. It's ready to go. Primed.
It's kind of beautiful that a bird doomed the other dinosaurs.
That's right, yeah. No, he knew.
In order for me to live, you must die.
Right, but like so my real question about the end of this book, though, is that there's a note at the end of this book. What did you make of the note at the end of this book? In fact, we should read the entirety of the note at the end of this book, because I think it really leaves this big mystery about the nature of time. Right? Here, give me a second here.
Yes, Nate. This book is what opens up the vast vacuum of what is the nature of time. Animorphs.
It is our Necronomicon. It's Megamorphs number 2.
Necronomicon Ex Mortis, the Book of the Dead. Bound in human flesh and inked in blood, this ancient Sumerian text contained bizarre burial rites, funerary incantations, and demon resurrection passages.
Careful what you read.
Inked in human flesh, bound, or inked in human blood, bound in flesh.
Yep.
Megamorphs 2, Ex Mortu.
Hold on. Actually,
Yes, Animorphs aetus.
okay, so there's a note in the end of this book. Hi, it's me, Tobias. After we got back from our adventure in the late Cretaceous, I looked up some of the dinosaurs we encountered. Tyrannosaurus. Oh, God, no. Dacionitis.
Why did you?
Saltosaurus, Spinosaurus, Elasmosaurus, Chronosaurus, and Triceratops. All of them were during the Cretaceous period. But paleontologists seem to think that some of them, like Spinosaurus, were extinct by the middle Cretaceous, whereas we were in the late Cretaceous. All I can say is that I was almost eaten by a supposedly extinct Spinosaurus. So who you gonna believe? Me or a bunch of dumb scientists with some old fossils?
So I think that was a good first attempt by Nate. Hey Kay, do you want to read it how we call the correct way?
God, like, I didn't take Latin. I don't speak dead language. I speak American. Guess what?
I'm sorry. Isn't this America?
Here comes a Tyrannosaurus. Here comes a Dinosaurus. Here comes a Saltisaurus. Here comes a Spinosaurus. Here comes a Lasimosaurus. Here comes a Chronosaurus. And the old Triceratops.
Suck my dickosaurus.
I feel called out because I did take Latin because I'm a fucking nerd.
But I'm very attracted to your wrinkly brain.
Why, thank you. It's the only part of me that cracks. Because I'm black.
No. It's
black don't
No, it's
crack.
okay. I got the joke.
Get it?
The black don't crack.
Oh, God.
Black people don't have butt cracks? It's just a hole?
It's just a hole. But we've got these perfectly round booties.
That's not true.
Into it.
Or at least I do. I remember being a kid reading that note at the end and being like, fuck you, Tobias.
Yeah. Like, Tobias, what are you doing? Postscript on this book. No, dude.
So there's a few ways to read this. There's the obvious one of, this is the author saying, hey, not everything's factual. This is why we put these weird dinosaurs in here. But I think it's more fun to read this as Tobias justifying his genocide of the Mercora and the planet. Because
I read it as him making a whoopsie. Like, he's like, I think we might have sent the wrong comet to Earth. These things actually died earlier than they were supposed to.
Here's a thought. I have a big galaxy brain thought.
Okay, cool.
So, the Nesk, they talk about that they preserve the Spinosauruses.
Get out of my fucking head.
Hey, I pay rent, okay? So they talk about that they preserve the Spinosauruses because there were not very many left. So for all we know, the Nesk have been there for a fucking billion years, and they've been preserving shit. So maybe there's dinosaurs that are around because the Nesk have been keeping them alive.
It's like that short story.
Get out of my fucking head.
That short story about the robot that was keeping like different animals hostage, and it had dinosaurs that were just hostages What the hell was that short? It's like a little orb that would
God,
go around
that
and
sounds
drug
interesting.
things and keep them alive forever because it wanted a collection.
I do not know the story.
Oh, jeez.
What the hell? I think, Kay, you know what I'm talking about. It's like one that's
And it's
taught
on-
in earlier literature classes.
Yeah,
can't-
and it's on the tip of my
I can't-
tongue, and I can't remember what it's
I can't
called.
think of it, but that makes me think of that.
Acid goes on the tip of your tongue. Or is it under the tongue? I don't know. I've never done acid.
Either way, it's great. Don't worry about it.
I mean, they'll get there. Like, you don't have to work too hard.
You can ride in the front of the car. You can ride in the back of the car. You'll get to where you're going.
Famous acid say.
So did we like Megamorphs too?
So I'll go first because I have read the fewest of all of these books out of everybody on this podcast.
I don't know. Maybe Nate.
No, because Nate's been reading every single one of these books.
I was like, yeah, if I was able to get away with reading I want to try it. Just like not reading one of these books and see how far I can get into the episode.
Oh, God. That's been my goal, to come on one and be like, yeah, I remember this.
But like this is probably the, I don't know, I've read less than 10 of these books.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been decades since I read an Animorphs book, and I was laughing. There'd be times I'd turn to Kay and give her a line and just laugh, and I enjoyed this book quite a bit, even though there was a lot of silliness that I had fun poking at. But it was just, I don't know, it was entertaining. Like you had mentioned before, Tyler, it was like a popcorn film, you know? It was just kind of an action piece after an action piece with a little bit of stuff here and there. I had a good time. I mean, even though it's not the strongest book in the series by far, and everything doesn't matter because it's not carried into the greater series, it's just kind of, it reminds me of anybody who's a fan of anime, when you watch like a series and then you watch the movies, how they don't have any correlation to anything in the series.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like a bottle episode, right? Like, you know, they're there, they're kind of like having some fun exchange stories, and then they're done.
That's it. Yeah,
and I'm cool with that, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely better than Megamorphs 1. It's a fun story with a few kernels of true, like, wonderful, deep humanity.
I was so fascinated going into this one because, like, the idea of, like, Animorphs go back to the time of the dinos. I'm just like, yeah, that sounds like some great sci-fi schlock. I'm ready for it. I'm here for it. This is going to be awful, and I love it. But it wasn't awful, and I was like, okay. It was a different experience. I still enjoyed my time with it. I was surprised they pulled it off, which is like, how? Because, like, you know, it's like teenagers encountering dinosaurs. It should be just garbage. It should just be like nonsense. But like, it was a fun adventure. I'm glad it was a nice episode of the X-Files where they just kind of wrapped everything up in a nice bow. They had some adventures. They ran into an ant monster. It was fun, and I had a fun time
crab
with it.
people.
It's hard to describe what reading this book is, though, because I think it's just, you can't sum it up. It's just them being chased from one dinosaur fact to another.
There are some beautiful stuff, like, oh, I want to eat my boyfriend because I'm so pissed off at him too. I better make some dinosaur shoes.
Yeah, it's like describing this as a sandwich. It's just like there's little nice bits of pepper in there that wake you up. You're like, what do you mean you want to eat your boyfriend?
Right.
You like broke into lungs to get air? What the hell is going on? Right?
I still fucking love this book.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's because it's dinosaurs.
And even with the inaccurate dinosaur stuff, like, even for the time, I still fucking love it.
Kay loves dinosaurs more than anybody I've ever known.
No,
but
like,
it's
I almost
great.
feel that that's a very, like, 90s thing of just, like, kids
It is.
love dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Give them dinosaurs.
Big fucking lizards.
I honestly, like, yeah, kids love dinosaurs. I don't know what, like, they're giant. They're dead. They're gone. They're fantasy creatures that exist. They're dragons that were hanging around.
Yeah, they're dragons.
They're dragons.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like I do have, it's like for Kay and Tyler, because you two have read the entire series though. Isn't it a bit of a cloaca tease that they don't get to keep any of the dino DNA?
Yeah.
Could you imagine like later fights if they could turn into fucking
Yeah, I was
Rexes?
actually expecting that, of them just like having that in the back pocket ready to go when the writers write themselves into a corner.
I mean, like, yeah, that's a little bit of a tease, but as a kid, you kind of write it off like, oh man, that was so cool, and they did that. they're just gonna have to do something even cooler since they can't do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that episode of G.I. Joe where they go into space. They
Curse
don't
you,
have that
Sario.
starship again, though.
Yeah, curse you, Sario. You know what I will say, though? The sad thing about being on this wonderful episode with you two gentlemen is that there was no Visser 3. So when we listen to this episode, we won't get to hear any of that.
Oh, I don't know. I think we could build
music.
something up to our wonderful, evil, exuding man who just busts into every situation, every conversation.
Yeah.
He will show himself up.
And
who knows who brought that submarine down?
And you you guys have done one episode. We've only got 40 more to go, so it's not like you.
That's true.
Oh, don't tell that to Kay. Kay definitely does not want to talk about Animorphs.
No.
Kay would never love to see the glitter in my eye as I start to describe Visser 3 coming into a book.
Here's the thing. Like, I bet you that during the Visser 3 book, we will have so many musical cues.
Yes.
So, like, you know what? Him not being here, we'll just make it up. We'll make it up later.
Yeah. So I mean, that's Megamorphs. That's Megamorphs too. This is Animorphin time. Kay, Warren, we've loved having you on. This has been a lot of fun.
Check out Tone Death. It's a fantastic podcast.
Tone Death.
Tone Death. Death.
Yeah. Like, genuinely, it's a very well researched, very funny, very fun podcast about musicals. And if that's ever been an interest to you, or if you have no interest in musicals,
check out the musical Cats. You will immediately be fascinated by musicals. Why are they naked? But why are they like sometimes not naked because they put on clothes?
It's such a unique art form that is so rife for analysis and skewering. And I think you both do each of those things very well, where you'll talk deeply about the analysis, and then Warren, you'll say something like, "Why did this character break into song here?"
Because it was in his heart.
Yeah. It's very good shit. Check out.
Father, I just want to sing.
No, none of that.
Gonna paint my wagon. Gonna paint it good.
That's a pretty sorry-looking wagon you got there, mister. I reckon it could use a coat of paint. Well, what are we waiting for? Gonna paint our wagon, gonna paint it good. We ain't bragging, we're gonna coat that wood.
Oh my God.
Gonna paint it with an oil-based paint because this wood is pine.
So yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you all for listening. This has been like a 6-hour podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, of course,
It's been
anytime.
a pleasure.
Yeah.
You have an open seat. You don't suck.
And
Thank you.
and this note, I guess, all Nerks are jerks.
Oh, what?
Nerks. What's the name of the alien?
The Nesk.
All Nesks are pesks.
I was thinking, I got a crab hand. I got a normal hand.
I'm gonna fuck you
shit up with my crab hands.
I got a crab hand. I got a normal hand. I'm about to cut some shit up with my crab hand. I got a crab hand. I got a normal hand. I'm about to cut some shit up with my crab hand. Grab you with my crab hand. Grab you with my crab hand. Grab you with my crab hand.
Grab you with my crab hand.